Greetings, salutations everyone, welcome back. We're playing some more Limbus Company today. We're too stout. We are continuing the rope train Mado and the Rope Express, I think that's the name of it. We are in the middle of it. I'm hoping we can get to the end of it, but also no guarantees either. We will see how far we get. Importantly, actually, we need to change this one. Let's change the keywords for this team to, do we have La Mancha? This is currently Reen and La Mancha. Reen a Bloodfiend? Huh? You will, I think? Oh, okay. I actually, earlier today, I dispensed myself the Bauber of La Mancha Land. So, she has synergies with my manager of La Mancha Land here. To be perfectly honest, I was really torn going back and forth whether to dispense her or to dispense the Princess of La Mancha Land. I just didn't. I don't have much reasoning behind which one I chose. I just needed to choose one, and I chose the Bauber. I kinda hope to get the princess sometime and have a more La Mancha Land team. I think the leading factor that led me to the choice is, let's add it to the team. We need to swap out some. This is going to be Rena La Mancha Land hybrid team for the moment. We will use a support character to help fill out the team. I don't think I have any good Gragos for the team. Okay, so yeah, we'll probably use the Prince of La Mancha Land for support. The other thing, interesting thing I found out earlier today is, which season is it? Which season was it from? Nope. There it is. Apparently, they're doing a thread spin of 5 for Faust's 9-2. Which is very interesting. As you may know, I like my Bruno team, but yeah, there's some problems with this passive for Faust. So maybe the thread spin 5 will make it better. If it does, I might go for eventually dispensing it. Not going to dispense it in its current state, I don't think. Even though I really like Burn and stuff, but so here's hoping. I mean, Faust is great on my actual proper Burn team. Danoff is Faust. We'll see. crossing my fingers for that. Oh, as you might have noticed, the one here, my new issue, I've only been able to level up both the Manchaland characters to level 42 and 43 at the moment. I'm still working on leveling them up. Also, they're both at Appetite 3. I actually have... the problem is the shouts for both of them, more so than the thread. But we'll get them there eventually. Though, wait, these enemies we don't want to use bleed against, right? So I didn't even need to do this today since we're not using a bleed against them. Okay. No bleed. What do we use then? Could go with my Rurina team. Wait, no, that's bleed. Well, I guess it's just... Yeah, it's...
자유로울. 함께하죠.
Yeah.
시작되기 전에 파우스트가 나서겠습니다.
Oh, also, in the same news, Soda Ryoshu is getting an update, but I don't know if I care about that. I should have maybe checked what Soda Ryoshu even does, but I did not. It doesn't sound or look like a Boon Ego.
자신 있으면 받아봐.
And the only other team Ryoshu is relevant of my teams currently is my House of Spiders team. Sinking. I have an extremely mediocre sinking team, and I don't think Ryoshu's on it. So even if the appetite is great, it doesn't seem like it'll have a fit on my team. Whereas, I'll point out, like, I have Outer Blossoms now, and I'm a little disappointed that, like, I got this, and was using it with my. And the unit that pairs with Outer Blossom, and then just here a handful of months later they released kind of a Battle Boon post, and so, I don't really use this ego that much on this Dawn post. So I would actually like a Battle Boon ego for my post. I need actually more egos for a few of these characters. I have some pretty good egos on Grago. And I've got a magic bullet, and I've got some good egos on Radia Sinclair, though. I think there was a there's one or two egos for Sinclair that I do have my eye on.
심장을 노려.
망설여 나아갈 수 없어. 노을빛으로
실력은 잘 이용하지 못하셨을 뿐. 전부 펼쳐낸 나부처럼.
Ooh. Let's go here. How much? Only 10 Scotch Wintershame. How much? Okay.
여전히 무섭고 겁이 나. 그럼에도 멈추고 나는 소리지만
I do like these appetite fives they're doing. It feels like a cool way to make
꺼지지 않도록 거세게
older pieces of content relevant and exciting.
반응형 사출. 전부 조각내기죠.
As long as they do it right. It would be very sad if they do a big buff to 9-2 Faust and it does something really cool but still has the lust skill requirement. That would feel really bad.
네 소재
맞군.
Yes, recommended level.
포스트가 나서겠습니다.
It would be funny. I did imagine they're expanding it to Wrath. Yeah! You know, that's actually something that another thing I'm sad about is with Into the Sunset. Into the Sunset cares so much about lust, but so Into the Sunset is better on my is significantly better, I would say, on my Liu Association radio.
나비가 날개짓다.
한 발을 위해
Sometimes actually I think I should have this as a separate team from my full-on Birna team. And make another team lineup that is my full-on Birna team and have Liu Association radio on it, because technically
걸리적거리니까 비켜.
this is Birna and Tramir both, and not purely Birna. But that's less of for like a power level thing and more for how powerful can I make just a pure Birna team without splashing into other effects. Into the Sunset will be excellent on Princess Radia. That's true.
이 궤적을 보고 떠올리지.
나쁘진 않았습니다.
And really, in a reality, this team doesn't just like do a tiny bit of Tramir. It really does benefit from the Tramir. It does a lot. I mean, it has 4 Tramir characters.
설령 녹아내려 추락하더라도 괜찮니? 이
I'm
눈물이
silly.
식지 않도록
I'm so used to my other team that for a moment just now, I saw this stuff in the background and my mind just assumed, oh, I've used closing time. That's closing time's effect in the background. My characters are currently buffed. But that's not true.
여전히 무섭고 겁이 나. 그럼에도 멈추고 싶지 않아.
아프진 않았습니다. 실력을 잘 이용하지 못하셨을 뿐. 전부 펼쳐낸 나비처럼.
이렇게들 허약해서야.
The rope train is too Reen coded to be bad for bleed teams. Yeah! The Reen would love it here. They'd love the art. The autistic expression of the rope train, you know. This is a long fight. Not that I'm remotely against it. I like a long fight in this. Do we want to... Actually, why don't we go here? Oh, I will say I still need to update this to it. Fifth update. It's just uptime something to its fifth update does take a lot of resources. And I have been spending on my resources and both my Nula Manchaland team here and my Chouch team and my middle team. Trying to get those all better.
자신 있으면 받아봐.
나를 비추는 주홍빛이 꺼지지 않도록 거세게 휘몰아쳐라.
나머지는 제가. 반응형 사출. 전부 조각내보자.
I am curious. She just dealt 238 damage with what is ejection at high noon.
별빛으로 만들어드릴 수는 있답니다.
154 with the ego.
역시 우리 사무소의 자는 이렇게들 허약해서야.
심장을 노려!
이렇게들 허약해서야.
Okay. Oh, wait, she still has 6. She's had a super long encounter and she can't lose all her eye of precognition. To be fair, she does kind of lose more of it in more difficult encounters sometimes due to the way your passive works.
완벽한 한 발을 위해
Also, I used Dimensional Shredder earlier today, my Hannah Lou's Dimensional Shredder, and realized, yeah, Dimensional Shredder must be W cope related. Oh, at least, no, it might not be, but it seems very W cope related. It could also be related to something else I don't know of. But W cope is the thing. Cope is the thing that seems most similar to Dimensional Shredder that I know of. Something caught my attention from the corner of my eye after another round of brutal combat.
이건 또 뭐야?
Huh? What's this now? Last rope cleanup crew member. Ooh, that makes sense. We were on the final car adjacent to the freight car when we discovered that odd box with the T logo on it. T-Cope logo on it. I skipped Cope.
T사의 로고인 것 같지만
Tis the emblem of T-Cope!
전투 중에 부서진 것 같구려.
It appears that the wall covering it was broken in the fierceness of our battle. I wonder what that's doing here. There's no way it's one of the pyramid things that the T-Cope director bought from Limbus company at the end of the thing yet. That's too accelerated of a timeline.
그 대표라는 사람
Didn't that chief executive guy, Hubert, right? Didn't he offhandedly mention something about partnering with other wings?
역시 W4
I guess they were in cahoots with W Cope too.
T사뿐이 아니라
Such collaborations are not limited to T-Cope. It is oft the case that a wing may work with another.
오히려
It is only
이름을 날리지 못한
on rare occasions that they urgently request the assistance of less significant, lesser known corporations such as our own Limbus company. Their choice appears to be quite irregular.
뭐 W4도 이제 떨어질 만큼
Sounds
떨어졌다는
like
거겠지.
W Cope's heydays are long behind them.
부서져서 속이
Just
드러나기
like
시작한
this wall that's falling apart, revealing what's behind it.
아, 부서졌다고
Oh,
하니까 생각난 건데.
speaking of falling apart, this room sure got messed up, huh? It was difficult for me to ignore how Radia hurriedly swerved to a different subject, as though she'd made a mistake. Even the tone of her voice shifted like she was catching herself. The various destroyed prosthetic parts covered in human remains indicate that this train car was boarded by several prosthetic-equipped fixers. I can't think about that right now. Let's deal with the task at hand.
아까 T사의 원정을 왔다던
Maybe these people are from the same office. That guy we met at the platform. As that guy. Remember? He said he'd roped over to T-Cope on an expedition.
같은 모델의 우체가
Look,
보이네요.
it's almost like they're all wearing a standardized set of prosthetics. Same make, same model, everything.
의체를 사용하는 해결사들만 고용하는
I
사무소가
believe I have read articles stating that certain officers do exclusively hire fixers with prosthetics.
혹시 이분은
Wait, he's... We were walking through the bloodied train car when we suddenly heard Sinclair's voice crack as though he saw something awful.
이자는 분명 승강장에서
Fi! He's the one we encountered at the train platform!
우리에게 시비를 걸던 자군.
This is the fixer who suddenly started venting at us. Yeah, and he said something about going to Tico on an expedition and failing. They brought a whole train car full of fixers for this contract. I guess he wasn't exaggerating when he called it an expedition.
부서진 팔만 한다스가
There are over a dozen broken arms strewn about.
썼던 것이지
They
않을까?
must have fought valiantly by replacing their broken arms with backup arm. Perchance? Makes sense. That would explain all those broken prosthetic arms and legs in this car.
그것은 아마 다른 피주머니에게 저항하던
Executive
중에
Manager.
발생한 것입니다.
This is likely an aftermath of a battle between fixers and blood bags.
전쟁 때도 비슷한
There were
사례가
many similar cases
의체는
during
언제든
the war.
교체가 가능하니
Those
자금이
using prosthetics would simply let their bodies be destroyed in battle because they considered them to be disposable as long as their wallets would permit.
물론 그런 녀석들
Of course, the blatant lack of self-preservation
전사하곤 했습니다.
often sent them to early graves. Maybe so.
상황이 생각보다 다양하게 해석될 수 있군요.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's not dissimilar to how K-Cope employees acted. Same thing that got Samjo killed. Lack of self-preservation in some ways. Also, utter trust in his superiors, which... Hey, Axanthath! How's it going? I see. There are multiple possible interpretations depending on one's perspective. Despite the fact that there is but a single scene, I will remember both of your inputs.
좋은 자세군. 당신 같은 사원들은
That's a
꼭
good
끝까지
attitude.
살아남고
Employees with attitude like yours would often make it to the end of the war.
네, 뭐
Yes, well,
다행이었겠군요.
good for them. Faust answered Otis in an uncharacteristically snappy manner. Signs of fatigue were creeping into her pensive expression. You all right, Faust? It was rare to see any actual expression from her. I was starting to get worried.
신체적으로는 문제가 없습니다만.
I am physically unharmed, but...
네,
Yes, I am all right.
고립된 바다 위에서
However, I do not
나비사비로 그물을
enjoy
던지는
the
것 같은
circumstance
이
which we find
불쾌하지
ourselves in. It is as though I am casting nets to nowhere, lost and isolated in a blind sea.
평소에는 열람한 정보에 간단한 추론만 곁들여서 명료한
A
결론을 내릴
great
수 있었습니다.
amount of her normal abilities have been taken away. Normally, deductions such as these would have been completed within moments after establishing a few basic cross-references with the information I accessed. Her voice was such a whisper for the second part of her sentence that even I could barely hear what she was saying.
그건 알 것도 같네요.
Ah, I know what you mean.
새까맣고
Feeling like you're
구멍이
completely lost.
어떻게든 식량을
Obsessively casting knot after knot over the black, rippleless lake in desperate hopes that one of them might pull in something we could eat. You know, I've been thinking, and I really don't have a good guess, despite the fact that a number of months back now I read through Faust. I really don't have a very good idea of what to expect when we do get to Faust's canto. Despite that, I don't know what direction they're going to go. No way to tell where we are. No way to tell if there's even anything to eat under that glassy water surface, grasping at the straws, you know.
나 또한
This sense I find myself mired in is not unlike your own. It is like lying my back over an unseen grave, for the reflection of radiance upon my eyes and the sanguine scent hanging from the tip of my olfactory sensors tells me not of the forging path. It seemed that Ishmael and Isan picked up on the first part of her sentence. However, as they walked up to her and shared a few words of consolation.
파우스트 씨가 그런 말을 하는 건 처음 보는 것 같은데요?
By the way, I don't ever recall you talking like that, Faust.
아니, 정확히는 파우스트 씨가 오늘따라
I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's something different about you today.
그건
That is...
나쁘다는 건
Oh,
아니에요.
I mean, I don't hate it. I'm actually glad to learn that you had a softer side.
그대에게서 본 적이 없던
This
모습이
unseen side of yours.
헉
It is unfamiliar, yet quite fresh.
그런가요?
Is that so? Faust's reply was curt. She closed her eyes.
승강장에 있던 팜플렛에 의하면
As per the information provided by the pamphlet at the platform, it is likely that this train is composed of 12 passenger cars and 1 freight car.
현재 도달한
Because we are on the 11th car at the moment, that leaves a single car between us and the freight car, in which Mephistopheles is secured. Which means
높은 확률로
that there is a high likelihood that we will soon encounter the blood fiend responsible for the creation of the blood bags aboard this train. Just beyond that though.
그래봐야 이것들 대빵이라는 거 아니야. 뭐 얼마나 다르겠어?
You know something funny? This rope train is a crazy thing, and I tried to explain the whole deal with the rope train and how the rope train works to a friend of mine earlier, and it was too complicated. I explained it, and it's complicated. Well, how impressive could the leader of this sort of cannon of Vtubie be?
역으로 말해 그 많은 피주머니를 거느릴 수 있는 존재이기에 위험 수준을 높게 생각하는 것이 타당하다.
A different, more accurate interpretation would be to say that a being capable of commanding a force as large as the blood bags we have defeated should be considered a high-risk entity.
잘 알려진 정보는 아니지만 혈귀의 상대를
It's
전문적으로
complicated,
하는
but the
해결사는
low
누구예요?
video about it is what got me into the series. It's really special, honestly. It is. That's why I was trying to explain it to my friend. I'm like, it's this rope train. It's like, and it's like, I could have given a better explanation. In hindsight, like. Although this is not common knowledge, there is a subcategory of fixers called blood fiend hunters who specialize in, yes, hunting blood fiends.
정보가 사실이라면
Okay.
전문가가 따로 있을 만큼
You know,
까다로운
a very
존재이기.
classic thing are vampire hunters. I'd tell you I'm surprised, but I would be lying. Assuming that information is true, it can be inferred that blood fiends are difficult foes that require a certain expertise to defeat.
생각해 보면 피주머니라는 것들은 맹목적으로
Now that I'm thinking about it, if blood bags are like mindless thralls to blood fiends, then they're kind of like an army, right?
사기 저하나 탈출을 걱정하지 않아도
Being
되는
of
군대를
power
만들
who
수
can create a force of their own without concern for lowered morale or
보통 이상의 능력을
desertion.
갖고 있지.
Wartime or not, they will always make for formidable foes. The sinews each exchange various opinions with one another, possible strategies, estimations of the blood fiend's strength. And all of a sudden, fie! And this indecisive idleness! Our quest is to defeat the villain who hath brought such pain and misery upon this train, is it not? It may be vaporizing the lifeblood of the innocent as we speak. Mighty, oh feeble IQ not, I swear upon mine honor that I shall smite this foe, and let my hand of justice be the judge of their fate. Let us hasten now. Don Quixote's sudden outburst immediately put a stop to the chatter. She's not wrong. Dealing with the blood fiend is the key to completing our contract. With that, I opened the door leading to the last car of this train.
순조롭게 끝났군요. 고생할 것이라고 생각했습니다.
Damage from turn up asphyxial Faust.
파우스트가 생각했던 것보다 유능했던 덕도 있겠군요.
Faust may be having trouble
지팡이의 책도
accessing her
이번에
information,
회수하도록 할까요?
but she's still pulling her weight. Look at that. 46% of the damage. She's pulling her weight. Still going to be blood bags that I can't use bleed against. Most of my... This is the most. Most of my team is to bleed. Green middle. And these two are kind of incomplete. Ah.
이거 참 설레는구려.
This room.
다들
What is with that look on thy faces?
왕자에게 인사를
Thou
드리러 왔으니
standest in the audience of the
최선을
prince.
다해서
Where are thy smiles?
저자가 이 모든 일의 원흉이자 저희가
He
처리해야 할
must be the
탈빈입니다.
blood fiend who caused this outbreak. He is our target.
무릎을 꿇고 머리를
Fall to thy knees and grovel before royalty.
그쪽이 누구길래
Who the hell are you to make those demands? I shall impart this upon thee only once. So listen well.
내 이름은
Thou mayst trust me as Prince Kasati, sixth kindred in refuge from his family, and the rightful prince who shall reign over thee.
열차에서 일어난
Out thou the villain, who hath brought such destruction and massacre upon this vassal.
왕자의 앞에서 모래하게도
Thou art a chatty one, so rudely before your prince. Yet this welcome satiation has put me in quite the generous mood. So the big enemy of the event is a dog. Seems that way. Seems that way.
자,
As thou must have seen on thy journey here, this place is a hall of banquet full of feast most majestic.
피주머니를
No matter how many blood bags I create, no matter how many of them I devour, Humans just won't stop coming. I am only enjoying what casts themselves into my maw.
얼굴에 여흥용 가면을 쓰고 있어.
He dons a mask for the purpose of merrymaking.
인사할 생각이라면
If we're really going to exchange pleasantries, why don't you take that mask off? Or are you unfamiliar with basic etiquette? And, you know, extending onto Otis's idea of exchanging of pleasantries, we could exchange gifts. We've got this nice little wooden house over here, courtesy of Otis. How are you? Oh, this mask won't come off. Can't take it off. Shouldn't take it off. There's no prince without the mask. We're so ugly behind the mask, so we all decided to hide how repulsive we've become. But once I've drunk your blood, well, then it'll go back to how it used to be. Only then can I unmask myself.
내놈, 안면에 바느질을 한 자는 누구지?
Oh, is it? Who stitched that mask to your face? Not a half-bad job. I'm trying to remember in the out of the La Mancha land character. I feel like at least one of them had a mask. I don't think any of them are IDs of this guy, but I think at least one of them might have had a mask in their outro. I don't know if they were wearing it though. Of course, it's excellent because this mask was crafted by none other than the great and the eminent Vtubie, whose name I do not even speak, but it hurts so much. You know, we've had some remarkable coincidences this playthrough, and I know there was a great reason for me to pick the Vtubie as the first one of the La Mancha land characters. No, I'm smiling. Look how out I'm smiling and laughing. Because I am the prince. That's what I am.
정신이 획가닥해버린 놈이군.
They all do have masks, but they only equip it after a bit of time in a battle. Oh! It's like, wait, I know my manager of La Mancha Land has a point where your abilities become enhanced. Does she put on a mask at that point? He's bloody loon in it.
다 웃었냐?
Alright, done with the giggles then. Get ready for the beating of your life. I enjoy things like you and your friends. Don't cry, bawling and bowing and sniveling on the ground for your lives. Lunge at me instead. The crushing, the boiling blood. Oh, how I love the heat.
주위나 둘러봐. 넌 혼자야.
What are you, daft? Look around. There are 13 of us and only one of you. I will say, Heathcliff, don't say that. We've run into people, singular individuals who could beat the 13 of us into a pulp like Ricardo. So don't tempt fate with that, Heathcliff. Come on. Sadly not to manage you. Oh, the other three. Fair enough.
히스클리프 씨,
Do not let your guard down, Heathcliff.
상대는
This entity has managed to turn countless passengers of this train into blood bags.
방심은
Yeah.
안 하겠지만 그래도 뒷칸에서부터 피주머니들은 보이는 족족 우리가 썰어버렸잖아.
To be fair, also, Heathcliff is at least the only of the sinners I can remember having seen summon an army. Mind, it wasn't our Heathcliff, it was a different Heathcliff that summoned the army. So Heathcliff might undervalue the ability to summon an army because he's like, oh, anyone can summon an army, right? I ain't letting my guard down, but we blasted through so many blood bags we couldn't even keep count, didn't we? Couldn't even count? Oh, no, but the count is so important. I have to keep count of our visitors. Oh, yes, of course. I do remember to keep count of our dearest visitors. Yes, here I do.
난 말이야. 아주 강해. 그리고
You have no idea how powerful I am, and I shall not relinquish the throne of this budding kingdom to the... You know, you telling me that we have no idea how powerful you are kind of makes me think you're not as powerful as some of the people we've faced, just because... I don't know, the most powerful people we've faced have not had to tell us that we have no idea how powerful they are. All I have to do is sit here and do nothing, and the blood bags present themselves before me. There's no paradise like this out there. You have no idea what I did to create this place. Yeah, there's like a classic thing, like certain myths of them being like, oh, like if a vampire's coming out at you, toss a bag of beans and they'll have to count all the beans before they continue coming at you or something.
이걸 어버이들께서 보셨다면 얼마나 좋아하셨을까?
Oh, how elated my forebears would be were they here to witness my creation, this cornucopia of abundance, this pleasure, oh, this freedom. But this kingdom is mine! I made it! I'm not giving it away! No!
조금 의아하긴 하군요.
This is rather curious. She's like, oh. The blood fiend's insane.
추측하건대 저 혈귀는 이 칸에서 거의 벗어나지 않는 것
It appears
같습니다만
that this blood fiend leaves this cow only on rare occasions.
그 영향은
Yet, we have seen signs of his insidious influence throughout every cow we have visited so far.
가만히 앉아 있어도 피주머니가
Then what he meant by how blood bags present themselves before him has to be...
잠깐!
Wait, are you with him? Hold on! I do not remember what voice I was doing. Hold on a minute! Someone suddenly and frantically charged into this cow. It was Sasha, the fixer we ran into in one of the earlier cows. Kasati shrinks into his throne at this sudden intrusion, terror apparent on his face. she the boss?
자네는 설마 우리를 도와주러 이곳까지 와준 겐가?
Ah, it is thee! By that, hast thou truly journeyed here to assist us in our quest? Lo, that villain is the blood fiend, responsible for the tragedies that have transpired aboard this train.
저자만 처치한다면 그대가 보호한 승객들 모두
Help us slay that crew and eventually lead the passengers thou hast protected thus far out of this train. Blood fiends.
만약 피주머니가 아닌 채
What if there was more than a single blood fiend on
더 있다면
board, one still capable of rational thought?
와, 정말 여기까지 왔네. 날개에서 의뢰를 준 해결사는 좀 다르구나.
A half-robot cyborg, a vampire. That is a new one that I can't remember seeing something before. Damn, you actually made it all the way back here. I guess the Venus don't give out contract to just anyone. I used to fight to my damnedest too, till I was the last one standing.
무슨 소리를 하는 거야?
What's she talking about?
그랬더니 이 네 팔 중에 세 개가 뽑혀 나갔더라고.
But where did that leave me? Alone? 3 of my forearms ripped from my body? That makes sense. This makes sense all of a sudden. I was wondering earlier why she wasn't with the others that seemed kind of like her, with extra arms and stuff, and all the prosthetics that we found a little bit ago. But she was never with them, was she?
그런데 이상하지?
Kind of funny how the perspective on life can just completely flip when you're really, really in the shit. I think my last thoughts were, man, I don't wanna die.
그래서 빌었어.
So I fell on my knees and pleaded. I told him that.
피하세요, 돈키호테.
Don Quixote, watch out.
무엇이든 다 할 수
I'd
있다고.
do anything to live. Ooh. Lad rapidly crystallized around Sasha like a suit of armor as she swung her greatsword at the sinews, striking them even before Faust's huey shout had fully died away. Ah! What did I say? I commanded you to give me a warning before jumping in like that. Don't you? He is so timid. You're very right. Don't you know how loud your stupid arms are? I thought the family had come for me.
죄송합니다, 카세트님.
I'm sorry, Lord Cassati. Allow me to introduce my kindred to thee. First of mine, since the scapegoat the kingdom I intend to build. My kindred, my loyal squire. Squire, you say? Who shall be at my side as I build a dynasty of my own, my family.
말씀하신 대로 강한 놈들을 선별해서 이곳으로 보내려고 했습니다만.
I do really wonder if there is going to be a character named Sancho in this story, because like one of the things I find interesting, the only place I can remember having seen Sancho in this game is like some of Manager of La Mancha Land's abilities are like Sancho Bloodouts and stuff. So I'm not sure if Sancho is a character in this or if Sancho is a concept or something. I'm unsure. It seems. Yeah, I mean we're going to see. We're going to see. The blood of Sancho. I didn't know that. Oh wait. I have right. It's like La Sangre. La Sangre. Sangre. I don't speak Spanish, despite the fact that I did take 2 years of Spanish way back. Did I read this? Claude Cassati, I had intended to select the more powerful of the bunch to send to this cow, as you have commanded me, but the humans in my cow are all weaklings, so I present before you this group from the first-class cow.
권소,
Kindred.
당신은
Are you even aware of the exact nature of a kindred?
아니, 하지만 이것만큼은 얘기할 수 있어.
Nah, but I can tell you this.
그분의 피가 내 몸에 들어온 순간
When I accepted my Lord's blood into my veins, I felt as though I was reborn. How recent was this, Sasha? To me, it doesn't feel like you've been a blood fiend for super long, but I don't know. That's just like my impression.
권속은 뒤틀림이나 환상체가 만들어낸
I see. A blood fiend's kindred is like a sub-entity of the blood fiend, similar in concept to sub-entities created by distortion or abnormalities. Oh, wow.
정확한 정보도 없이 무작정 받아들였던
It must have been desperation
그만큼
that pushed you to accept that proposition despite the lack of information.
아마 권속이 되기 전에
So,
나는
I can't remember if I've mentioned this recently on stream, but I do. Okay, I am a fan of vampires. I like werewolves more than vampires, but I also do really like vampires. I've watched quite a number of vampire animes. Oh, a good number anyways. Maybe that's probably what was going through my head before I became a kindred. Thou hast been in cohorts with this villain all this time as his lackey?
우리가 처음 보았을 때
Even ere then, when we first laid our eyes upon thee.
붉은 눈에 대해 물어볼 땐 얼마나 놀랐던지.
Lady, you have no idea how much I freaked out when one of you asked me something about red eyes. Not that it would have mattered if you did suspect me, since mine are just prosthetic. Wow,
보호하고 있던 그 스낵들은
she really is very, very prosthetic. Then the passengers who were under thy protection.
내가 말했지.
Haven't I told you that the count matters?
행렬은
The longer the procession, the better. Dozens of blood bags began shambling into the room from behind Sasha. A smaller one among them stood out to me. Ah. My mind immediately snapped to the child, grabbed Don Quixote's coattails. I knew that the passengers would at the moment we realized Sato was a blood fiend, but I hoped that we'd be spared this sight.
어린아이도
It was a child!
알아. 언젠가 커서 해결사가 되고 싶어 했지.
Yup, little runt wanted to be a fixer if she got to grow up.
그런데 해결사가
Good thing she won't.
피주머니로
So, I can't tell you on good authority that living as a blood bag is way better than the drudgery that is the life of a fixer. Believe me, I know. Hold thy violet tongue!
정의롭고 이름 높은 해결사 같은 꿈을
Dreaming of becoming a famous, respected fixer, an enactor of justice. It's all just a stupid pipe dream that always ends in crushing disappointment. Oh, a really early grave. Does anybody like walking in the city? No. It's a horrible dystopia.
그이 닥치라고 하지 않았는가?
Silence! Silence! Don Quixote did not give Sasha the time to finish her sentence. She was already charging full speed at her with her lance drawn. Little aside, I remembered when it mentioned Don Quixote's lance down. The game Warframe, apparently its creative director has been playing a Limbus company. Oh, is she the creative director? And she's a fan of Don Quixote, so maybe sometime we'll get a lance weapon in that game. Let's go. Here we go.
자신 있으면
낙인을
받아봐.
새겨드리죠. 망설이지 말고.
나비가 날개짓하듯.
Rebecca Ford, that's her name. Rebecca Ford has been playing Limbus Company. Couldn't remember her name upon him. Let's actually get a brilliant glowy going as soon as possible. Wait a second. We're going to switch targets there and here we go.
여명의 빛과 같이 눈부시지 않다고 두려워하지 마라.
This is 2 waves, I've noticed. I'm going to assume the second wave is a boss fight where they were fighting Kasati or Sasha or both. I'm not sure. There were exactly 2 unknown enemies in the enemy lineup on this node, so it could be both.
선배를 스승님을 행복하게 할 수 있다면
Might
끝에서 다 함께
want
기쁨을
to
나눌 수만
get
있다면
some
어떤 두려움도
ego passives going before we get to that part. Oh, is there any super relevant other than Unbrilliant Glory? I could... Your likely stout dance con. That I did not plan on, to be honest. I didn't plan on getting that. Didn't expect. As in, wait. Actually, does one of them have that? Yes. Nope. This is a quality of life feature that they could work on. It is sometimes completely impossible to select. Okay, I'm fairly sure this one has... Oh yeah, there, the dual escalates. And I want actually... Wow! Really, Radia? You're still at 30 eye of precognition? You can do better than that.
여명의 빛과 같이
망설이면 나아갈 수 없어.
태어날 뿐.
심장을 노려. 느려 터졌네.
Ah, there we go. That's how we lose eye of precognition. That's better. Okay, so we have one blood bag passing. Oh! Wait. What's the deal with those two over there? Huh? There's just 2 characters, like... Huh, weird. Let me... End of turn... Does not... It does like bleeding. Coagulated blood. If this unit failed to deal any damage, gain 2 fragile and 2 offense level up. Every time this unit is hit, if the attacker used a skill that gains charge, the attacker steals a charge. I should be using a charge team. Oh, a charge team would be good here. Not that my charge team is that complete. Also, my charge team doesn't inflict bleed. Oh, wait a second. I thought it was Sasha there. That's Sasha. Kasati's not in the fight. We're going to use this. What? 22. Okay. Down a split here. Not in the fight yet, true.
그럼에도 멈추고 싶지 않아.
Kasati's too cowardly.
알아. 오느라 힘들었지? 여기서 잠깐 쉬어. 쳐다만 봐도 따스해질 테니까.
I mean,
진짜
very brave vampire. Good on him. I wanted to insult him.
새벽녘. 자네 많이 지쳤군.
I'm so sad. My arena team would just love these debuffs. Okay, not all of them are debuffs, but you know, my ring team does love a good array of debuffs. Very powerful prince. We respect him greatly, you know. One second. Okay. Let's. How many butterfly coffins? Duty. Ooh. Oh. Let's actually not use that yet, though. Let's just. Yeah.
여전히 무섭고 겁이 나. 그럼에도 멈추고 싶지 않아.
Really? It was the blood bag that gave the team the problem there? Really? I'm just going to win right there. Come on, take out the blood bag team.
받아봐. 잘 이용하지 못하셨을 뿐.
진절머리가 나는 건
Unbelievable! I make myself my fused of kindred without authorization at that, and it's this bumbling fool!
용서하십시오.
I pray for your forgiveness, Father. Be gone from my sight. At least thou hast brought me blood bags for sustenance. So she brought you blood bags for sustenance. Does that make it that she brought you your final meal? Yet it must be the responsibility of a parent to clean up the mess of his child.
개소리.
What a load of shit. But that Kasati reached out toward the pile of blood bags on the ground, and that's why they were there. They were there for his moment. He wielded the staff! Is that the staff? We don't often see a staff as a weapon in this game, do we? Is it a staff? Oh, abundance! What an unfamiliar sensation you'd become! An armor of hardened blood materialized over the blood fiend's body. His sheer aggression and hatred were palpable enough to make our skin crawl.
혈액을 걷어들인 것으로 힘을 더욱 키운
It
것으로
appears
보입니다.
that he has empowered himself by reaping their blood. Though my power is yet to fully return, this magnificent armor is quite befitting of the risen king's parade. Wouldst thou agree? Yes, yes, you do. Of course you do. It's not the last time we see it. Oh, cool. Challenge me now. Oh, rebels, challenge thy king. Oh. Wow, what are you doing? You're targeting my Sinclair.
모조리 죽여서 조용히 만드는 거야.
Oh, what is this? Huh? Bleed stuff. I can't remember. What's
무언가에 맞설 용기를.
other than just targeting those abilities? Do I have a good? What do I need for the last ego? I need another wrath to use and brilliant glory in incandescence. This is really annoying because Sinclair is the last of the Dan office I want killed. I don't have any, like... Oh, I do have an assist defense. Wait,
날 신경
I
쓰는
don't
것보다
use this.
자네 생각하는 게 좋을걸? 제일 중요한 걸 놓쳐 그러다.
I don't use assist defense skills very often, and it's something I think I should do more. I guess they seem good. Maybe I should try this. I'll tell you if it fails. You know. Also, do we know we don't know any resistance systems? We're going to do this. I really don't want my Sinclair killed, because my Sinclair is very good.
칼날 사출.
사냥 끝. 모조리 해체해줄 심장을 노려.
Also, you know, this might be pretty appropriate. In some things, vampires are weak to fire, so we're burning it. Burn the vampire. And a brilliant glory, you know, seems to me to be the sort of thing that a vampire would be weak to. Something called a brilliant glory, you know?
이 궤적을 보고 떠올리지.
Here we go! How much damage can we get from it?
이 검은, 이 명예는, 이 영광은 빛바래지 않을 테니.
Not as much as I would have hoped, but...
심장을 노려.
Oh, and actually, speaking of dealing damage, we're going to do Blazing Strike and follow Blazing Strike with the Butterfly Coffin. Oh, wait. Oh, no! Come on! That's At tune in, depending on the stored blood stack on Sal 5 or fewer gain. That's good at 5 or more. Gains a new pattern when stored blood reaches 0 for the first time. Fix the unit speed to 10 when using the skill I am the Prince of the Parade. And that's what he is using. Double the amount healed by Howd Blood Blade. Reset speed to 0, gain down stored blood. Well.
말했잖아. 느리다.
나는 진정한 왕으로 군림하는 것이다.
The good news is, did he just put Radia into Eye of Precognition overheat? And now she's got disposal, so we can go disposal into Blazing Strike with full 120 Scourge Field to empower it. We can go Butterfly Coffin. We can go all out. But What is that? Blood, blood, blood. Okay, and also using pathetic one and go away. Okay. Let's go here. Disposal on him. Done splitter. Actually, how many magic bullets? Okay, I need to check that. Yes. Yeah. I think we've got quite a turn lined up against him here.
지긋지긋해. 요시 그 새끼도 너도 전부 다.
Nicely done, Randall. And a blazing strike. Power.
휘몰아쳐라.
285 damage. And not bad.
잘했습니다. 보충하죠.
Done splitter.
새벽녘.
For 185
제가 보태죠.
into an eject dismemberment at high noon, which is very powerful. For 374.
역시 우리 사무소의 자랑이야.
Into the magic bullet.
여기까지 쏜 이상 돌아갈 수 없는 거다. 방아쇠를 당겨 도착할 곳이 지옥뿐이라 해도.
I think this tune can be considered straight up skipping the boss fight. Yeah, well, I just had a bunch of my most powerful abilities of my burn team just line up for that tune. He's right here with his dialogue. It hurts. Can you blame him? Yes, I love it when humans let their blood boil, but this is too painful. He just found out what happens when we boil his blood with our burn. This guy keeps regenerating, no matter how many times we tear him to pieces.
이래서는
Okay,
제압하기가
Grago, to be fair, our enemies have probably felt like that before because they're like, this Dante keeps bringing these guys back to life no matter how many times we kill them. This, I don't know if we can. The metal fatigue finally got to Grago, and mental fatigue. I said metal. I don't know what metal fatigue is. Actually, it might be if someone's getting tired of metal music. And they collapsed to the ground. The strange environment of Rope Train was proving to be a significant boost to the Blood Fiend's regenerative ability. The battle trudged on without an end in sight. At this point, we've already been fighting for much longer than we had at the K-Cope Bodu checkpoint or at the basement of Wuthering Heights. The sinews had all grown much stronger since then, but even they were reaching a breaking point. Don Quixote's looking bloodied. Don Quixote continues to wildly pummel the Blood Fiend with her lance, breaking, stabbing, and crushing him every time a body pouch regenerated. I am so We hungry?
배가 고프다는 이유로 수많은 사륙을
Ridiculous! Thy hunger was no justification for this mask you thou hast rat. Shut up! You don't understand.
200년 동안
You don't know how awful it is to. I survived for 200 years on that disgusting, horrible. No! I don't even want to think about it. Shut up! Be quiet! No, I'm sorry. I'll be good. Please, let me have just a sip, just the smallest sip, please. It won't matter how many times you stab me. I shan't stop until all thy flesh and bone and organs are crushed into a viscous, shapeless mash, never to become whole again. What has Kasati been through to tune into this? To be fair, I've seen some horrible stuff in vampire-related stories that vampires themselves go through. I mean, for one, if anyone's played Baldur's Gate 3, the Astarian's backstory, the stuff his master did to him. And I don't actually even know that much of his backstory because just I haven't had him as that core of a party member when I've played. But the Blood Fiend's regeneration is so powerful that he's recovering as fast as Don Quixote is destroying him. He's regenerating at an insane rate. We can't. My kindred, my child. I have given thee new life, invited thee to this banquet. So do something. Your responsibilities, the blessings of your father must be repaid. No.
제가 어떻게
What can I do? Find the weaknesses, break their anchor, make them kneel and grovel before me in desperation, just as you have.
한 가지 짚히는 것이 있다.
Wait, I think I've got an idea. Sasha began looking around wildly, surprised by Kasati's sudden command.
저들이
It's
저와
that
같은 위치 해결사들
the way they fight
전투 방식이
reminds
바뀌었다는
me a
점이
lot of the way we prosthetic using fixers fight. Just as prosthetic fixer slowly lose their sense of self-preservation, their limbs becoming no more than tools to be replaced. These idiots act with abandon, as if they have multiple lives to burn through.
지켜야 할 것이요.
With nothing to protect, they throw themselves wildly into battle, like moths to a flame,
결국에는
and forget to look after what's really important,
중요한 것을
like this
실제로
thing.
그리고 이-
With one of her remaining arms, Shasha picked up from the ground the master key cow Faust showed her in one of the previous cows. We would like that. Could you hand it to us? Thank you for picking it up off the ground for us.
막으세요, 동키호테.
Then Quixote, stop you now.
어버이시여.
Oh my father, I offer this gift to you. Don Quixote immediately leaped at the fixer, but one of her arms struck her away with great force. Ishmael and Mirso, who had been holding Cassati down, were no match for his strength without Don Quixote's fury. The blood fiend threw them both to the side and grabbed the key card. Ishmael and Mirso's strengths weren't enough. Wow.
1등석 칸으로 갈
Now
수
those two are
있는
strong,
열쇠입니다.
right?
이것으로 더 많은
This is
피주머니를
the key to the first class cows, my lord. With this, grow your army of blood bags for the kingdom's prosperity. No. Cassati examines the master key card with clear interest. Without that key card will be trapped inside this train for thousands of years until it reaches its destination.
단테,
Dante,
파우스트의 정보와 지식에
I believe that I have
접근할 수
tried my
없는
utmost to overcome this
나름의
adversity
최선을 통해
without access to Faust's knowledge and the intelligence. Oh, no, you're good enough. I feel like you're...
하지만
They're decently strong, but not at the level of... Yeah. However,
마스터 카드 키가
with our loss of the master key card, the uncertainty of the situation has been greatly exacerbated.
아마 그 원인을
At the
따져본다면
origin of this plight, Faust took a deep breath as if she was about to take a deep dive into the source of all this trouble.
파우스트에게
Must be my over-reliance on Faust. Actually, I kind of agree, Faust. I kind of agree that you might be over... Wait, yeah. If I understand what you're saying, that you might over-rely on... What is it called? Gesellschaft or something? From what I can tell, Faust has always been operating based on information she received from Faust. So, situation like this where she has to make decisions on her own must be unfamiliar to her. It's interesting that this Intervallo feels like it's very... very not focused in some ways on Faust in a different way than I would have expected. When more often, if we've had an Intervallo more focused on a character, it's right before their canto. But Faust is an exceptional listener, with or without Faust. I've been thinking the same thing about myself, actually. That I might have been relying too much on that perfect Faust. But even without Faust, you've still guided us masterfully after analyzing the information we brought you. Maybe uncertainty itself doesn't always have to be a problem for us. Remember, thus the lack of plan itself becomes the plan. You said it yourself.
그렇군요.
I see.
저는 파우스트 중에서도
Indeed,
불확실성
among
있는
many,
파우스트니까요.
I am a Faust that believes in uncertainty.
마스터 카드 키를
Our
빼앗긴
loss of the
것은
master key
수많은
card
불확실성
is
중
but
단
one
하나입니다.
of innumerable uncertain variables in the equation.
확실한 건
The constant is, however,
저자나 우리 둘
that
다
the blood fiend is just as desperate as we are.
협상을
Thus, the only option that remains at present is to compromise. You there. Looks like thou art the one who's been regenerating your friends. Stop doing that, alright? Don't heal a single one of them.
알겠냐?
This guy. This has to be a first. This has to be a first. Just having one of the first time we've had an enemy just ask us, stop regenerating the sinews, please. Go easy on me. Essentially asking us to go easy on him. Oh, I'll smash you, get you pieces. He is childish. Manager a squire. Compromise? To compromise with a villain as vile as that cure. I didn't have the time to regenerate Don Quixote's severe injuries just yet. And the rest of the sinews were already unconscious. Oh, really? The only sinew who could still move and attack was Faust, whom I just rewound the clock for. Yeah, let's do that.
그럼 카세트,
Very well,
장소를
then.
이동하는 것은
카사티.
어떻겠습니까?
Why don't we move this conversation to a different location?
저와 단테 씨만이 가겠습니다.
I alone will accompany Dante to this
당신을
negotiation.
공격하지 않겠다는
Let me
의사를
make my intentions clear now. Dante and I will not attack you there. Oh, Don Quixote will not like this. To be fair, I'm not sure I like the idea of negotiating with this guy. I like vampires and things, but this guy's not a very good vampire for on the scale of how good a vampire can be. He's childish and pathetic, but he's also killed a lot of people. There is no doubt in my mind that Casati must also be exhausted by the unending barrage of attacks from Don Quixote and the sinners. So Faust's suggestion that we move this conversation to a different place without the sinner must have sounded pretty sweet to him. Just you two, huh?
네, 당신도
Yes,
알다시피
as you are aware,
이 악한에는
the freight
힘을
cow is
가졌습니다.
immediately adjacent to this one.
그곳에서
Oh!
서로의 원하는 바를 이야기해보자.
Interesting. That is where we will further discuss what we each have to offer one another. We're moving to the car with Mephistopheles. That clock must be thy monarch then. And thou art one of the retainers. In a sense,
그렇습니다.
correct. You know, here's what we do. Muffy's hungry. Muffy needs to eat to vroom vroom. You know, he might make a good meal for Muffy. Very well. This will be a royal debate then. It is only right that a member of royalty talks to no one else but the one who is his equal. Manager! A squire! We'll be back in a minute, Don Quixote. I think he'd give Muffy indigestion. Maybe. But I'm sure Faust could iron things out. Thus we left the incapacitated sinners and Don Quixote, who watched with hollow, despondent eyes as we walked away. We carefully made our way into the freight car. So Faust, why are we doing this in the freight car again?
단테,
Dante,
저는 처음으로
this will be my first attempt
도박이란 것을
at
해보려고 합니다.
a gamble. What? With that door closed shut behind us. There's only one other scenario that I can think of that seems as unlikely to take a gamble as Faust.
순조롭게 끝났군요. 꽤 고생할 것이라고 생각했습니다만
That being Mirso.
여러분들이 파우스트가 생각했던 것보다 유능했던 덕도 있겠군요.
Mirso does not seem the sort to take a
이번에
gamble.
회수하도록 할까요?
So this passageway leads straight into Mephistopheles. This is without undoubted. This stupid boss woke me from my slumber. If only this boss hadn't completely filled up the freight car. I wasn't planning on commencing the parade so soon, or creating a kindred at all.
단테,
Dante,
연결된 것 같습니다.
the connection has been restored. Hey, I mean, that's good. Even if we do kind of like the idea of you being a little less dependent on it. Connection? The sadness of her statement briefly knocked me off my train of thought. Your train of thought? I looked at her and cocked my head in confusion, and she replied with an even quieter whisper without looking away from the blood fiend.
메피스토펠레스에 탑승한 것으로
Odin Mephistopheles has re-established my connection to Faust.
복구되었습니다.
Did you know that this would work?
아니요. 아까도
No.
말했다시피
And as I have stated before, this was a pure, incalculable gamble based on my own uncertain hypotheses.
실제로 상봉해보니
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to end the game here with a game over to a vampire. Just, oh, that's the end of the story. The sinners were defeated by a vampire on a train. This success helps me somewhat comprehend Miss Radia's fascination with gambling. A faint smile momentarily appears on Faust's lips as she jests, then fades away.
연결이 되었으니
Now that the connection has been re-established, I would like to make a complaint against the Fausts and the Gesellschaft management
즉시 항의를 하고
regarding the
싶습니다.
fact that they neglected to list the information pertaining to the loss of connection within the interiors of the rope trains. However,
제가 이 상황에 대한 타개법을
finding a
찾는 것이
solution to this situation takes
다분히 의도적인
precedence.
누락이라고 저는 생각하지.
I have much reason to believe that the omission was done on purpose, but I hope that is not the case. Yeah, can it at least be to someone like Dracula, not someone pathetic like Cassetti? I mean, like, when I was originally picturing, okay, we're going up against a vampire on a train, I imagined it as real epic, but like, the more I get to know this Cassetti guy, it's like, it's kind of pathetic. Even if he's strong. Is the Gesellschaft like a forum? Is it a Discord server? Okay, so I do sometimes see, I try to avoid the spoilers, but I sometimes see like some comics people make and the Limbus company subreddit, and that's I think, if I'm remembering right, that's where I heard of Gesellschaft before this Intervallo is. I saw it like represented in a comic a while back as something like an internet forum. Faust gently advanced towards the blood fiend.
협상에 대한 이야기를 하시죠.
Let us discuss the details of our
그
compromise.
마스터 카드키를
What are you willing to accept in return for the master key card? That weren't just anyone. I would have wished to turn the island to bloodbags and drink every last drop of thy blood. But thou art unlike a common person. My wish is to maintain the secrecy of this kingdom of mine as long as possible, and thine wish is to leave this place, is it not?
카드 키를 받고
Once I relinquish to thee this keycount, and once thou returnest to your first class seat, we'll live here happily ever after like nothing happened.
열차가 도착하면
And when the train gets there, you get off the train. Everything goes back to it the way they're supposed to be. How's that for a deal?
아무 일 없었던 것처럼.
Like nothing happened. Faust, what about the job we were contracted to do in the first
기억과
place?
흔적까지 통째로 사라지지
아빠는-
않는
Upon
우리의
our,
성패 여부를 넘길 방법조차 없습니다.
upon arrival, our memories and any signs of battle will be entirely erased. We will have no way to relay the news, whether it be one of success or failure. I would rather us be successful, to be honest. Because they'll be able to tell if we're successful by, after a few train rides, people keep disappearing.
저 혈기를 해치울 수 있다면
The same way they can tell that there is currently a problem.
W4에게 통보받을 수 있겠지만
If we had the means to defeat him, then at least W Cope would inform us that our contract was successful after the fact. However,
이렇게 되면 저희는
this current
단순한
scenario
힌트도
will
제공하지
leave
못할
us with
것이고
nothing to show for,
의뢰는
not even
실패를
the
통과하죠.
smallest hint, and the contract will end in failure. But we could have done this negotiation that we're talking it through right now without access to Gesellschaft.
하지만 그보다 당신과
However,
수감자들의
what
정신적
takes
안정을 확보하는
precedence over
것이
the
더
contract
중요합니다.
is you and the sinner's psychological stability. It's not like we've always been successful, so that was something I could live with, but what about the other passengers of this train? And its future passengers? I remember the look on Don Quixote's face whenever we would come across these inevitable forms of injustice. Faust does not reply. Yet the lack of reply was a reply all on its own. Are we going to have to let them die? Innocent lives will be lost, but we cannot prioritize their lives over our safety. That must be Faust's and the company's policy. And yet, Don Quixote! The great knight errant, Don Quixote. I shan't allow this. Don Quixote? I thought her wounds were too severe for her to even crawl, let alone walk. But with sheer will, she pushed herself through the pain to reach the freight car. I will not tolerate this. We cannot let this vile wretch live and turn a blind eye to everything he's done. It's him again. What? You want to stay here for which is essentially an eternity within this train. I know what this is all about. Everything hinges on the key, doesn't it? As soon as I snap this in half, you'll have to spend eons inside this. I care not. I would welcome it, even should it mean exacting eons of penance upon thee. 'Tis much preferable to letting thy villainy go unanswered. Let this place be the site of thine eternal judgment. Faust and I grabbed Don Quixote. She'd normally be strong enough to wriggle free of our grips, but she'd already pushed herself beyond her limits merely by whacking her.
이거 놓으시게.
Faust! Unhand me! Thou mustn't let him live! Manager! Esquire! Don Quixote. Letting him destroy that key means you'll be condemning the sinner to thousands of years of torment.
본인이 잡지에서 보았던
Then I shall fill the millennia with the tale is most exciting that I had once read in the magazines.
않겠는가?
That is so like Don Quixote. Actually, that is both our Don Quixote and the Don Quixote of the story. The solution to millennia of torment is millennia of storytelling. I like that. Yeah, the sinners wouldn't like that, but to hear she means so incredibly well, because like to hear it's like, at least to the Don Quixote I know of, like from the books and from the amount of the story I've played through so far, it's like to hear stories, these stories of bravery and of fixers and knights, so this great theme. So and to hear she doesn't see this as something that like the sinners would see differently, so to hear she is making a promise of just something fantastic to feel at the time. No amount of time, however ineffable, shall be too great to overcome should we endeavor as one.
그것으로 해결되지 않으리란 건.
Certainly you are aware that your that your suggestion is no solution at all, Don Quixote.
그럼
Then there has to be another way. No!
파우스트군.
Throw out both possessors of great wisdom! Faust, manager Esquire, is there truly no path in which we may bring justice to the villain, and the sinners remain unharmed? His struggle begins to wane. But this was no acceptance. This was dejection. Wait! Don Quixote, no! In the commotion, we failed to notice that the Blood Fiend had been quietly advancing at us. We let Don Quixote go at the last second. A second too late.
어버이시여, 허가 없이 한 번 더 만드는 것을 용서하소서.
Interesting. Okay. Oh, Father, forgive my transgression, for I am about to create another without thy sanction.
지금부터
Thou shalt become my next kindred! Oh, look at that face there. It's like the jaws are unhinged and stretched. Oh. In fact, actually, let's hide the thing really quick. I don't know how this is going to go, but I feel like in some way this is our opportunity to turn the tables. I don't know how, but I think it is our opportunity. Cassati screams incoherently as he leaps onto Don Quixote, piercing her neck with his fangs, before we even had the chance to do anything.
설마 이런 식으로 해결이 될 거라고 생각하진
Oh,
않았는데.
I did not expect this to be the solution. Faust? What do you mean, the solution?
이전에도 보았지만
According to this
다시 한번
information I
열량한
had
정보에
viewed in the
의하면
past, and once again just now, it's...
단테,
음.
제 뒤에서 벗어나지
Dante,
마세요.
take cover behind me and remain absolutely still.
그리고
And please,
지금부터 일어나는 일은
do note
절대
that
다른
the
수단
other sinners must never hear a word of what is about to happen. Oh, Oh! Oh! Don Quixote levitates slightly into the air. Strings on her shoes unraveling as they slip off her feet on their own. Rocinante! She looks on with bewilderment as her running shoes fall to the floor. I guess you could say that the other shoe has dropped. Yes, you could. And... Rocinante! I've always had this question swirling at unfocused backstage of my mind. Why are you always so protective of those running shoes, Don Quixote?
운동화?
Running shoes! Ah!
우리 로신한테를 말하는
Dost thou speak of our dear Rocinante? Yeah, those.
본인은 수많은
I have battled through thick and thin, feast and famine with dear Rocinante, in sorrow and in joy, no matter the brutality of trials that hath struck me. It hath been a loyal steed by my side, for however long it hath been in existence. She doesn't know when she got them.
관리자 나리도 로신한테에게
Manager Esquire, wherefore hast thou not saluted Rocinante as... Wait, saluted? This may be a rather auspicious occasion to do so. Okay, I would personally, if someone I knew told me to salute their shoes, I might assume that they're coming at me with some sort of offhanded insult. Like, yeah, you salute my shoes with... I'd be like, huh? Salute your shoes? What? I know Don Quixote means well. Nope, I think I'm good. Aha! Be not so bashful. Go on ahead. Looks stinky. Small girl is torturing TikTok with Stinky.
로신한테는 냄새 나지 않네.
Stinky they are not. Scuffed as they might appear, Rocinante is in pristine condition. Also, I will disagree on Rocinante being in a pristine condition, Don Quixote. I've seen them. I've seen them. Also, thou shalt not address me as a small... Evacuate. Don Quixote, don't tell me you'll go to sleep wearing those I mean Rocinante.
관리자 나리 로신한테 안부까지 신경 써주다니 그거 참 친절하군.
Oh, I have always been quite certain that someone so esteemed as thee, Manager Esquire, would care to ask me how Rocinante fareth. didn't mention that this question was inspired by numerous eyewitness reports from other sinners who saw her wandering the halls in her pajamas and wearing Rocinante. Purely, Rocinante and I remain bound together, even in slumber. There shall be no separating the two of us. Wow. We are bound not by need, no want. We are simply bound together through plight and delight. Now that I think about it, every single identity of Don Quixote also wears a pair of running shoes, Rocinante. Now I am curious. Okay, wait, I want to pull up one of the one of the sprites of one of Don Quixote's identity. What identity should I pull up? Wait, let's see. Index Don Quixote and Index Don Quixote is one of the ones I use most. Sprite. Don Quixote. Middle little sister. Oh, actually, kind of hard to tell. Oh no, I can tell. Okay, yeah. Rocinante and the middle little sister. Done. Okay, there we go. Yep, that's true. Have you ever taken them off? Take them off? Fie! Whatever dost thou mean? As in, detach Rocinante from my body? 'Tis a very odd insinuation thou makest. She looks at me with puzzled eyes as though taking those pair of running shoes off was somehow an inconceivable idea. They were something much more than just her favorite pair of running shoes. Her attitude about it was totally detached from common sense too. But she didn't notice anything strange about herself. No, of course not. Don Quixote is mad. What does Rocinante mean to Don Quixote? The mad knight errant. What even is that thing? An overwhelmingly powerful pressure suddenly explodes, radiating in all directions. The metallic stench of blood suffocates the bus, filling every corner of it with its sickening horror. Then darkness. No, that's impossible. Sorry, I'm leaning closer to my screen. This is like... No, I've got to hide myself into the chat real quick. This is... There's normally not this much animation, if any, in the CGs. Oh, this is so cool. Rocinante is so much more than just shoes. A fine steed! Who are we to ever disagree with the noble Don Quixote? Proved us wrong. Actually, that's kind of weird. Sasha's in the background here. I thought Sasha was still on the other train car. Maybe it doesn't come up. She doesn't exactly seem very noble right now. You might be right. I mean... in all-absorbing darkness, voice is our only light. What? you have second kindred. How did you? I should have felt your presence. I do think I saw a faint shimmering. It was red, and she wore a long, fair adornment of sorts. And through the shimmering, I think I saw red eyes.
배륜이군. 금기이고.
You have committed the sin of filial impiety, transgressor. I know that voice, but I know that voice, but I also don't. I've never heard it in such a low, imposing tone before. Kasati is only the 6th. How strong is... He's the 6th and he's 200 years old. Oh, at least 200. He said 100... I know he said a plural of hundreds of years or something earlier in this. It speaks toward the lesser being. The blood fiend, shriveled and kneeling, trembling, pathetic. Mercy, oh, venerated ancestor, I beg for the mercy of the second kindred. I beg for the mercy of the second kindred. I beg. Insolent worm. Yeah, hundreds of years has quite the variance to it. Crimson droplets of blood slowly rise from the blood around the blood fiend's mouth before congealing and sealing his mouth shut.
네 놈은 감히 나와 섞을 수 있는 말이 없다.
No language roaming its way out of your maw shall be worth my ears.
아니,
No,
피를 거스르는
to commit the sin of filial impiety by attempting to travel through the bloodstream. Nope. To travel against the bloodstream. To commit such abomination against your ancestor. I cannot well sanction your impudence of continued existence.
굳어지고
Coagulate. Then melt away. Kasati's body begins liquefying into a slick stream of blood, his foam curdling and crumbling, then dripping to the ground. He melts rapidly, yet ponderously, like That ice cream Don Quixote loved so much. Paddling on the floor, heated under the searing sun. We just have an outline. You. Don Quixote turned to look at me, who was still on the ground after being thrown by the shockwave. Are you going to turn on me? And with a cryptic look of pity, she uttered something.
그래.
Indeed, you must be the promised timepiece. Something I couldn't quite understand.
나에게
Rocinante, to me. Rocinante?
부탁하지.
I beseech you. I carefully reached out, grabbed her shoes, and slipped them onto her bare feet one by one. One day. She gasped, stumbled, and slumped to the ground. So much more serious with Cassandra. Of course. Well, no. No. Beforehand, she was still serious with dealing with Cassati. She was still serious with dealing out justice. Very different. Is that who she is when she's not dreaming of being the great fixer, knight errant, Don Quixote? Is that our Alonso Quijano? Sometime later.
이게 대체 무슨 일이 일어났던 건지.
Can somebody explain what just happened in a way that makes sense? No. I guess not. We were told we couldn't. I knew that the sinners would all be shocked and confused. You know the funny thing is... What was that line there just a moment ago? Actually, I can pull it up because I have a stream that I can rewind a few moments. The line was, the line I'm talking about. One second. She said... No, sorry, just a second. I'm trying to find the line. Scrolling back and... Oh, there it is. Ah, one day. Reminds me of one of the scenarios. Which scenario? I think it's Sinclair. I think there's an ego. Is it Sinclair's ego? Is suddenly one day. Just reminded me of that. Might not be Sinclair's, but I feel like it is. After all, when they, including Faust and Don Quixote, all came back to life after I rewound the clock, all that remained was the destroyed dough to the freight car and the disgusting, obliterated remains of what was once Cassati. That's it, Graggers. Obliterated remains of what was once Cassati.
혈기와의 반복된 전투로 대부분 정신을 잃은 상태였다.
Most had lost their consciousness from the mental stress of the prolonged battle against the Blood Fiend.
관리자님의 조치.
Therefore, whatever measure it was that the manager has taken, it was appropriate. I guess so. Well, good work, everyone.
하지만
However,
여기서 대부분
the definition of most excludes 3 individuals. Thus, it would be appropriate to direct any questions to them. Wait.
뭐야? 그 셋이 누군데?
Who are those 3? 3? Is that including Dante, or is there someone else?
파우스트,
Faust?
관리자님,
The manager? No, okay, it is... Ah?
그리고
And Don Quixote, who is still unconscious.
뭐야? 그런 거야?
Huh? Really? Them? How did he know that it was them? Wow, you were spot on. When did you even have the time to notice that? Oh boy.
의식이 꺼지기 바로 직전
I have identified the 3 conscious individuals by analyzing their walking, cadence, and voices moments before my loss of consciousness. He is remarkably observant. If he actually shared some of these observations with the group more often, it would actually be more useful for the group.
어떻게 된 거냐 그래서? 쟤는 또 왜 안 깨어나는 건데?
Right, so what's going on with Lass? Why is she still out, Colin? I feel like you just tell them that, like, she overexerted herself with an ego. An ego put a bunch of strain on her. I know.
깊은 잠에 빠진 듯하군요.
She appears to be in a state of deep slumber.
곧 정신을
As she
차리실
is
겁니다.
not in any risk of death, she will be waking up soon. What will happen? How will she... What sort of state will she be in when she wakes? I remember everything, of course. Don Quixote's sudden transformation, how she practically erased the Blood Fiend and his kindred from the wallet without even moving a finger. But I also remember Faust's last words.
지금부터
And
일어나는
please, do
절대
note
다른
that
습관-
the other sinners must never hear a word of what is about to happen. So, does Faust generally know all of the sinners' secrets? Oh, not all of their secrets, but does she know a lot of the sinners' secrets? Perhaps. Does she know secrets about, like... I wonder. Because it seems she knows some there. Don Quixote was unconscious and Faust was answering every question with silence. Faust knows all. It's true. I wonder if disconnected from the Gesellschaft, if she knows the secret, so if it's only through it that she does. Does she know a bunch of the sinners' secrets from when she put this company together? Oh, is it just when when the secrets become relevant that she learns of them through Gesellschaft? It was only natural that everyone would turn to me for some answers. That's, you know...
그러고 보니
Wait, that reminds me.
제일 중요한 카드 키는
Where's
어디
the
있는
kick
건가?
out? Oh no. It better have survived the... last I remember, it was in Kasati's hands.
지금은 녹아내려버린 그럴듯한 꼴이 되었지.
It was in a far more presentable state than he was in the before.
그러면 그제가 들고 있었다던 카드
Nope.
키는
Nope. I was doing some clear. Wait, so what about the keycard he was holding though?
반액체 상태가 되었다. 이자의
It has been
손가락뼈와
half
같이 섞여
liquefied. The
가운데
remains have
손가락뼈가
melted with his finger bones. It appears to have become one with the middle phalanges. So, can we blame the middle for this? Wait. Oh.
다들 침착하세요. 침착해.
Oh no! Everyone, calm down! Calm down! I said calm down!
담배를
I
담배를 챙겨왔어야
really should have packed more cigarettes, huh?
그 힘으로 열어봐도 되지 않냐?
How about we force one of these doors open?
마스터 카드 키가 없어도 상황을 해결할 수 있습니다.
The master keycard is not an absolutely necessary element to resolving the situation. How?
여러분에게 해결 방법을
It will
완전히
require
이해시키기 위해
approximately
약 5시간
5
정도가
hours to
소요될 것으로 예상됩니다.
formulate an explanation that will allow the listeners to
요약해서 말씀드리죠.
fully comprehend the exact how of this methodology. Therefore, it will be delivered to you in a digestible, summarized format.
이거
Well, that was short-lived. She's acting all smug again.
메피스토 팰리스의 뒷문을
We
이용하면
can
됩니다.
utilize the back door of Mephistopheles. You know, that's something I thought about as soon as we got here. The back door is here. The steely confidence in her declaration was more than enough to win us all over. So we headed to the corridor past the back door. Dan Quixote slan over one of our shoulders and arrived at our destination. I can't not ask what happened after seeing the state you are all in.
후두둑, 후두둑.
Sandy pitter, sandy putter. Grains of sand, seashell-like thing, fall with every step the sinews took. We came through some weird place of the back door.
설명은 뒷사람 해줄 거야.
Ask someone after me
그게 어떻게 된
to
것이냐 하면
explicate it. Can grains of sand roll about in my throat as if spoken. Some time ago, Faust explained the gist of this plan as we made our way to the back
간단히
door.
말하면 열차가
To
아닌
put it
공간에서
simply, we will
시간을 보내는
spend the
것입니다.
time at a space disconnected from the train.
A사 표준 시간으로
The train should be
단 10초.
arriving at
그
its
정도의
destination
시간만 기존
in
차원에서 보는
approximately 10 seconds,
다행히
going by the
이 열차는
ACO
도착해 있을
time
테니까요.
scale. All we must do is to remain somewhere in our original dimension for that duration. And with that, Faust came to a sudden stop in the middle of one of the corridors.
잠깐. 문이 이렇게
Wait,
많은데
wait!
망설이지도
Are you
않고
seriously
그렇게
gonna
되는
just
거야?
open that door with this many doors in here? Are you sure that it's the right one?
네,
Yes,
이 문이 맞습니다.
this is the correct door.
안전은
Its
보장하죠.
safety is guaranteed.
아니 그
Alas, at least tell us what's past that door.
굿해요. 그
I
이상의 정보까진
did not
확인하지
bother
않았습니다.
verifying that particular information myself.
예상치 못한
I
걸
see, you
마주하게 되는
just know
경우도
it's safe, but not
후회를
what's there.
피할 테니까요.
It is necessary for future endeavors that I gain the experience of encountering something completely unexpected. Fail.
뭐?
What?
그럼
Oh, wait! Faust did not wait for Heathcliff to finish his sentence before jerking the door wide open.
지금입니다. 모두
Now
이
please,
안으로.
enter through this door. With Faust's command, We quickly walked into a building that looked like a derelict, abandoned hospital of sorts. I think we walked into the middle of a sandstorm. Aren't we indoors? How the heck is this even happening? I can't open my eyes. I got sand in my mouth. Wait, no way. Is this a sandstorm? But aren't we inside a building?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The sinners blurted out a series of colorful complaints, trying to cover themselves in the blasting sandstorm. But Faust continued to count in that same indifferent rhythm before dragging us out there just as urgently as she ushered us in. To be fair, I'd rather stand in a sandstorm in a 10-second than sit in a train for a few thousand years. Just, my personal preference. So, we managed to return safe and sound to the interiors of the rope train as it arrived at the Peak Hope platforms. As the train was still getting cleaned up, that is, and with our bodies completely covered in sand. I thought we'd never make it.
멀쩡한 승객이잖아. 어떻게?
Whoa! Are you guys okay? How did these passengers? We were so happy to be done with this whole ordeal that even the W Cope cleanup agent in the middle of a cleanup mission looked downright hospitable.
저희는 귀사의 의뢰를 받고
We are employees of
워크에
Limbus
탑승한
Company who boarded the
컴퍼니
train
소속
at
직원입니다.
the behest of your employer.
아, 팀장님이 사전에 고지했던 그분들.
I don't know how Don Quixote slept for this. Well, actually, extreme overexertion. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know. Oh, so you guys are the people that our captain told us about. They really let you guys keep your memories, huh? Oh, that reminds me. One of the employees must be sleeping inside that hibernation pad over there.
아, 그거.
Oh, that...
해봤는데
Huh.
한번
I've never seen it in action before. Thanks, let me go check. We walked over to the hidden compartment behind the church that cleanup agent crawled into. Inside it was...
아무도 없는데요.
There isn't anyone in here. That's disconcerting.
여기가 아니었나?
Maybe we're looking at the wrong pad.
이곳이 맞다. 그럼에도 여기에 들어갔던 사람이 없다는 것은
This is the correct spot. Then the disappearance of the individual who has entered this pad would indicate.
멀쩡할 리가 없나? 뭔가 잘못 보신 게 아닐까요?
I guess these folks aren't all there in the head either. Maybe you guys are just mistaken. I doubt that.
피곤해서 잘못 본 모양이네요.
Yes, we must have suffered from a momentary collective hallucination by fatigue. Very well, then we will see ourselves out. Faust cut the conversation short before the other sinners began asking too many questions. Now that I became intimately familiar with the meaning of that gesture, I followed her outside without another word.
도착한 곳이요?
Arrive? Have we arrived? Yes, you slept for a few millennia, Don Quixote.
오늘따라 올해도 파자도
Rise and shine, lass.
이제였겠냐?
Had a nice skip, did you?
알겠다.
I see. I will hear the details of the incident on the bus once we're traveling again.
네.
Understood. In the end, all relevant reports will be sent to WCOP via LCCA, and Virgilius was already there when we arrived, discussing the events about the train with Faust. He oddly looked apprehensive. I will now leave with Charon to go watch as they unfasten Mephistopheles from the train. The minute hand and the manager's hat seems to be desperately signaling me that they have a lot of burning questions to ask you. Allow me to give you two some space. I was finally able to ask Faust once Virgilius left. Why did you do that? Faust's body was quite literally blasted to pieces from the shoe pressure that filled the room at the moment Don Quixote's shoes came out. Oh, wow! I mean, didn't Dante bad? Just as though she knew it was going to happen.
당신의 몸이 터져버리는 것보다
Yes, it was the preferable course of action to letting the same explosive demise occur to your body instead.
죽는다는 것을 거의 알고
I do find
있었음에도
it regrettable
시계를 돌리게
that you were
만든
made
것은
to turn the clock,
죄송하게
despite
생각하고
my
있습니다.
knowledge of the high likelihood of my death upon that occurrence. No, I'm not blaming you for that. I just wanted to know how long you've known that Don Quixote is...
그것이라면
That is something I have been aware of since the LCB was first established.
베르길리우스도
The same
같습니다.
could be said of Virgilius. Of course!
단지 관리자에게
However, it
적절한
was the will
데이터
of the
개방하라는
LCA's superiors that
청구의 지침을
this
썼을
knowledge
뿐입니다.
remain withheld from the manager until the appropriate moment. And that appropriate moment was back there?
제 개인의 판단으론
According to
그렇습니다.
my private judgment, yes.
뭐
Well, as my connection to all communications, including one to Faust, had
본사의 허락을
been
받을 수 없는
severed,
노릇이었죠.
I was not in a position to receive the headquarters authorization for that action. Right.
자세한 연유는 알 수 없겠으나
Though the full truth may remain obscured still,
돌아왔구려.
we are once again returned. Returned? That was a layered word. We've returned to one of the rope platforms in our own dimension. We've returned to our daily lives of speculating about what's next in our path. And the usual Faust, reconnected to Faust, has returned. Well, the sun is a poet, so I think layered words is kind of part of his thing. Yes.
그렇습니다.
Faust quietly affirms Isan's rather nebulous question.
비록 농으로
Please,
물어보는
do
것이지만
not take this query with any greater import than a mere jest. However,
언젠가
do you suppose I shall see her again? She shot a puzzled look at Isan.
나름대로
In a way, it was quite the
꽤 유쾌한
pleasant
만남이지 않았는가.
encounter, was it not? Isan mused ambiguously before leaving us. The incident at the rope train was such a chaotic mess that it felt shorter than it really was. You know, I've seen that on the subreddit, I've seen that. Oh, never mind. The incident at the rope train was such a chaotic mess that it felt shorter than it really was, but it was also an opportunity to learn so much. It felt shorter than a few millennia. Interesting. I know he's talking about Faust without her connection to Gesellschaft, but that felt a tad rude. was interesting. It felt like his previous statement to me to be layered. In some ways, to me, a concept he might be getting at here is that sometimes when we're talking to Faust normally, it doesn't feel like we're talking to Faust the person. Instead, we're just talking to Faust the pre-written set of if-else instructions that she almost has. She doesn't actually have memorized, but almost like she has a set of memorized if-else instruction, and so she's talking to us through a script, and so we don't get to know her as a human being. And as such, in some way, maybe you could say that in some ways this was one of our first times opportunities to talk to her as a human and not as a script. That's kind of what I was thinking he might be getting at in some ways, but I could see it also being taken another way. But, as he states, he also doesn't want that statement taken too seriously, and I've already dissected the statement he said not to take seriously. It was too soon to start racking our brains about what kind of nonsense trial we were about to face in Pico. So I decided to enjoy this momentary peace. And in some ways, I think some of that topic is something that I think Isan kind of relates to with his background and stuff. I'm wondering what... I don't feel like I really know anything about Pico at the moment, so I'm wondering about that.
대체 피사엔 어떻게 도착했단 말인가?
Do we find ourselves at Pico? Well, oh, is my throat so pouched?
설명하기 너무 지쳤어.
I'm too tired to explain.
꼬맹이 진짜
Chiquita,
엄청난 모험을
you missed
했었어.
out big time on one crazy adventure. Actually, Radian, I hate to break it to you, but you're the one who missed out on the adventure that was even bigger.
덕분에 방금 귀에 마지막 남은 모래가
That vibrated the last few grains of sand out of my ears. The sinews look at Don Quixote's bewildered awakening, grinning. There's no way to know what will be facing here at District 16, where Peacope was located, but we got this, right? Oh yeah. Well, since it seems she doesn't remember exploding Cassati, it's one of those things where it's tough to tell, especially since she's based... Don Quixote is obviously based on Don Quixote, and it's tough to tell where exactly the line is between the dream and the not where the line is between the delusion and the reality. Does she or at least at this point in the story for me, does she remember that, but as part of her delusion she cannot acknowledge having those events? Or does her memory not extend to those events? Oh, maybe she even remembers it, but does not want to acknowledge those events because it goes against. Because a fixer, a great fixer, would not do those things, and thus doing those things runs contrary to the fixer Don Quixote. The same faith I saw in Faust, who believes in uncertainty, rises within me too. I looked up to Faust, only to see that Faust was looking at me as well. She nodded unto me with her usual barely noticeable smile, and I gave her a light nod back in return. Time to go find ourselves another golden bough. Okay, so I'm thinking we'll get a little stout on the next canto. I'm assuming that's the end of it. That seems like the end of the Intervallo. Though we might take a quick break before we... Oh wait, hey, no. I want that. Thank you. Nice. 10,693 lunacy. I feel like this might be the most I've racked up before spending it on Polos, actually. And I don't think I'm going to be spending it on the next banner either, so it's going to rack up even more. The dream ending will be... That's interesting. Wait. That looks like a Ferris wheel. Interesting. Yeah, I think we'll start this, but first... Oh wait, what's the name of it? The dream ending and... Oh wow. Which treats the life and the contracts of the not-so-famous but valiant Don Quixote. That is such a fitting name. That is such a fitting name. Okay, yeah, we're going to take a quick break and we'll get a little stout. Canto 7, which I am so excited for, but we're not going to get to that far today. But yeah, we'll be right back. And if you're enjoying, remember to drop a like on the stream. It helps a significant amount. The notes are... They're named like the chapters of the story of Don Quixote then. Be right back. We're back. And I just remembered just now to send the message in the stream Discord that we've gone live. So, excellent. Excellent job on my part. You know. Very good.
밤이 서둘러 다가온다 해도
The night approacheth with great haste.
이 어둠을 헤치고 나아가
Yet thou shalt hew open a path, cleaving the shadows in twain.
세상에 둘도 없는 가족의
With the blessings and approval of thy family, of which there is no equal.
모든 위험한 것을
Challenge and vanquish all themes perilous,
행복에
and at last reach true happiness.
의심할 여지 없이
That's how indubitable
오늘 나에게 일어난
the
모든
magnificence with which mine ingenious adventures of today shall shine,
우리에게 일어날 모험이기도 하지.
which is our adventure as well.
다들 기억하지? 무릇 해결사란 생각은 순수하고
You remember the words,
말은
right? A
정직하지.
fixer must maintain a head clear of corruption, speech free of deceit, and conduct guided by clemency. That's not what the actual fixers are like. I hate to break it to you. That's not what all actual fixers are like. But I mean, it's an ideal, all right.
모험은 용맹스럽게 하고 고난은 견뎌가며
Show courage in adventure and bear pain in suffering.
어려운 자들에게는
And pray, forget not the mercy for the downtrodden.
마지막에는
And last but not least,
목숨을 걸고서
pursue your dream, even if it means wagering your life in the chase.
이중 하나라도 지키지
Should you ever
못한다면
fail to stand by even one of these tenets,
내가 찾아와서
I'll
너희
smack you guys
모두를
upside the head myself. I don't know who's talking for some. I steal yourself and always keep moving forward.
그거 참
Is that not
치사한 협박이 아닐 수 없군.
a threat most unfair?
나를 치사하네.
Interesting. Interesting. Manager Esquire, how unfair of thee! Who was that second voice? My best guess right now is a vampire. I don't know what vampires are. And I'm not even sure if it's a vampire, but just, you know, if I had to take a guess, vampires seem involved with their backstory in some way.
치사하다 말했네.
Most unfair, I say! What is it this time?
이 몸에 차례가 온 줄 알았는데.
For once have I believed that 'twas my time to shine. Much did I wish to be the one to pull off the final flourish in its deserved splendor. Well, you maybe kind of sorta did, I don't know. But, I mean, even if that was a different personality, you putting yourself in the way and thus getting bitterness and becoming that, you kind of did, even if maybe that was another personality, or I don't know. I don't know if it was another personality or how the stream works. I'm not sure. Also, something I was thinking about is the way Intervallos work. We get these between chapters, like time-wise, with the game releases, right? So, at least if I understand things right. So, if for the people who were playing this game live, unlike me, well, I mean, I'm going to catch up eventually, but there was a cliffhanger there, wasn't there? That must have been quite the cliffhanger, if I understand how the story's released correctly. 'Twas my chance to mark my name in the newspapers. Returning to Peacock's train station seemed to always remind Don Quixote of our last misadventure. She'd repeated the exact same complaint a few times by now. What? We've returned here a few times, or wait? Oh, wherefore dost thou make an expression of such great dourness, manager esquire? I don't even have a face, let alone an expression. How untrue! How untrue dost thou not see? All things blessed with existence has helped. Even the little critters and indeed even the blades of grass, which most people bother not to linger even a fleeting thought upon. Forsooth, an existence of a hout necessitates an expression, wouldst thou not say? That is to say, we mustn't let the strength of the body be the scale with which we judge one's measure. Thus, persevere. Let only thy unbending heart be the tool with which thou dispensest justice. Howk!
누가 쟤또
Right out with it. Who encouraged the last this time? Hearken unto me, Manager Esquire! Some time ago in the freight car of the rope train. Wait, is this just a flashback to it? We just, if this is different, I might. No, this is a little different. Okay. Okay, so. Some time ago, Don Quixote, can you hear me? Say something. Don Quixote regards me silently. No, that's some eldritch being who I can't help but wishes Don Quixote gazing at me. She opens her mouth. My instinct is screaming at me not to listen, but Don Quixote, has the ended? The only thing I can immediately think of to fill that blank is dream. No. I don't think it's ended. That's so
나에게 로신한테
resonant to me.
부탁하지.
I beseech you. I don't know if I gave you the right answer. Though my answer was an almost instinctual relay of a thought that manifested in my head. Then Quixote closes her eyes upon hearing my reply, as though drifting away into a gentle, pleasant dream. I am curious about something. I have a curiosity. A curiosity I need to see here. We have where is it? Where is it? Okay. Interesting. The manager of La Mancha Land does not have the same shoes. The identity. And I make a silent wish. Let your blood-red eyes never, ever open again.
벌써
Have we arrived? Fie, what devilry is this?
이게 어떻게
With you hath the villainous blood fiend gone. Don Quixote?
설마
Didst thou strike down the queue? And back to the present. I kind of feel like we all missed out on something cool. Wish I was there with Faust and Dante when it all went down to see how you guys managed to kill the guy, you know?
엄밀히 말하자면 그 자리에 저자도 있었다.
Let's not leave a certain someone out of the story. She was there as well, though she embarrassingly passed out like a coward in front of that blood fiend. The shame of Limbus Company, I say. Out as a guy. As I'll see. Pathetic. As I'll see. As oh. Something of Limbus Company? Sorrow of Limbus Company.
우리도 기절한 건 똑같아.
Come on, we all passed out too, didn't we?
역시
I suppose I should have been there to take the reins of the sinners.
그렇게 혈기가 무서웠던 거예요, 돈키호테 씨?
Were you that scared of the blood fiend, Don Quixote? That's okay. I understand how you feel.
진정한 영웅은
A true hero stands still and calm, unmoving in the face of such base mockery.
확실히 결정적인 순간을 놓친 건 로자 씨 말대로 좀 아쉽긴 하네요.
I agree, Radia. I do feel like we missed out on something big.
저희가 본 건
Because
열차 안에
when we
도착하는
got there in the
그
aftermath,
혈기의 파편들과
all we saw was a very confused looking Dante standing over the blood fiend's exploded, melted pouch. I was standing? Confused, was I? Thosus! Why didst thou not wake me? I would have even forgiven thee for slapping my cheeks upside down.
그래서 정확히
So,
무슨 일이
what
일어났었던 건가요?
actually happened in there? Oh, the guy just melted. He just melted. I already told you guys earlier, didn't I? What? You just trailed off with a you know, until we changed the subject. What are you talking about?
혹시 머리에
Executive manager.
횡설수설하지
Perhaps you were in a similar state of explosive delirium to the one you experienced earlier. I am referring to the time when your head burst into flames. That's true. We still need an explanation for a lot of that. If I wouldn't mind an explanation for it. Oh, no, it's... Otis began glaring at me wearily as though my clock hat was about to explode at any moment. That didn't happen. Okay, yeah, yeah, now they're just going to think that it's dead. That's not the way to dispel the...
아니더라.
That didn't happen, huh?
그럼 상대를
Well, if
바꿔서
you won't take them, I turn to Miss Faust, our second eyewitness. Can I get some statements from you, madame? Radia asks confidently, in the mood to play detective.
구태여 파우스트 쪽에서 전달드릴 내용.
Faust does not have any information she deems necessary to share at the moment.
그럼 다시 탄테 씨에게.
Gotcha! Then right back to you, witness Dante.
너희가 주의 깊게 들어야
Listen up. I have an important announcement to make. So pay close attention. I have no idea if it was a coincidence or not, but Virgilius stepped in at just the right moment to divert the Sinu's attention from Sinu's away from me. You know, I feel like these Sinus are going to find out about the stuff we're avoiding telling them right now later on in this chapter. But I could be wrong. I don't know how this is going to go. As you are all aware, we have been contracted by Peacock to work on a case. We're not here specifically for a golden bow? I suppose we've done this song and dance enough times for you to know what's coming.
네네.
Right. I suppose we'll be having a scuffle song dance, whatever the higher up tops want, with distortions or abnormalities or what have you. Did I get that right?
그리고 끝에 가서는 황금가지
Aha! And 'tis a quest that leads us to claim upon another golden bow in our hands, is it not? Don Quixote replies, brimming with excitement. Yes. Well, if the two of you were able to catch on that quick, then I don't suppose any further elaboration is necessary. You know, our guide, elaboration is actually your job. I feel like you take any excuse not to do that piece of your job. However, this operation will be somewhat... No, let me correct myself. This operation will be drastically different from anything you have done so far. It may be one of our most bothersome missions. What is this about?
안 그랬던
Well,
작전이 있었나요?
when hasn't it been like that?
갑자기 이 인원의
I guess it
세배
would be
정도는
pretty
사람들 사이에서
bothersome
단체로
to have to
움직이거나
tag along with a
좀
group
껄끄러울
that's
수는 있겠지만
3 times larger than our own, though, but
수감자들의 감은 나날이
the
좋아지는
Sinu's intuition appears to be growing sharper by the day.
아, 정말
Oh.
그런가요?
Are we actually?
저 그냥
You know what? I think I'm just going to keep these gases to myself from now on. It's not something that can be negotiated. Well, isn't it better to join a group 3 times our size rather than to oppose it? What are we on about?
합동 작전을 한다는 것인가? 상대는 누구지?
Will this be a joint operation then? Who will we be working with? can't say I have the fondest memories of joint operations. You know, Gregor's actually right.
아팠던 기억이었어.
Memories of pain, if you will. Our mission at K-Cope was our first and last experience with a joint operation. Yeah, I still vividly remember watching Muso's armor flying up, smacking against a pillar and squelching onto the floor.
정확히는 견갑
More accurate recounting of the event would have included the fact that my scapula was also forcibly separated from my torso.
그냥 이번에도 우리끼리 하면 안 돼? 다른
Can't we
사람들은 영
just
도움도
keep
안
this
되고
between us?
반짝거리기만 할 걸.
The other guys will just get in our way and screw everything up.
저 녀석의 말에 적극 동의하게 되는 건 오랜만이군.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I strongly agree with that one.
오만한 발언이군.
How presumptuous of you all. Oh, his eyes are glowing red. That's not good.
너희들만 그런
You'd do well to remember that you are not the only team coming into this operation harboring such arrogant thoughts.
이번 의뢰는 해결사
This contract is, after all, an open contract posted by the Hana Association, the association overlooking the operations of fixers. Virgilius stopped himself, noticing an ominous aura from one of the sinners. There stood Don Quixote, practically vibrating with excitement.
이쯤에서 아무나 돈키호테 인비테이션 말해주도록.
Someone gag Don Quixote at your earliest convenience.
내가 맞지.
Allow me.
쥐구멍만한 사무소의 해결사.
Anyway, this means that our colleagues joining the operation won't be any ragtag bands of fixers from some alleyway office no one's ever heard of. It's very likely that fixers from somewhat established associations will be joining us.
내놈
You
주둥이 좀
stop
가만히 놔둘 순
wriggling
없나?
your lips. I am so glad that Otis was here to stop Don Quixote from exploding into joy. Because if she hadn't, we'd be drawing the attention of every single person in a sizable radius around us.
그래서 뭐 어떤 걸 처리해야 되는 건데?
Right, so what kind of monster are we dealing with this time?
아니,
More than that, how do they want it done?
뒷골목 해결사
You're
말씀하시는
talking like some shady Backstreet's fixer. Virgilius looked up just as Heathcliff asked his question. Yeah, the stations seem very... I wish I had the... Wait. I can pull up a side-by-side comparison. I was going to say I wish I had a side-by-side comparison, but I can have a side-by-side comparison. Here we go. Oh, yes. I like both. I like both stations. They both have an interesting charm to them. different, though. Virgilius looked up just as Heathcliff asked his question. Further details will be shared by our client, who graces us with your timely arrival. In which is explored Limbus Company's not exactly first alliance with Arene. I am excited about the chapter titles. She's the one we were supposed to meet here at the station.
이거 특색 붉은 시선님을 뵈어 영광.
My, what an honor this is to meet the rat gaze himself in the flesh.
그 외에도 모두들
Everyone, I am pleased to meet you all. I am Cesara, head manager of Peacock Archival Department.
아카이빙 부서?
Archival Department. So you are bookkeepers then?
그렇다고 할 수 있죠.
In a manner of speaking, yes. It is a rather significant department within Pico, regardless of how other wings treat their own archivists.
그런 중요한 부서의 부장이 찾아왔다는 건?
If a bigwig like the head manager of such an important department is here to see us herself, then boy, I guess we really are putting our names out there.
틀린 말은 아니네요.
Not an entirely incorrect assessment. I did hear some things about you and Limbus Company through the word of mouth.
뭐라더라.
What was it?
한금가지라는
Ah,
걸
yes.
얻을 수 있다면
A medium-sized enterprise with its employees gladly braving death to see a contract to its end. All just to obtain these golden boughs. That's true, I guess, but... Hey, she's actually making us sound pretty impressive, huh? Forsooth! I and my dearest compatriots have vanquished countless evil through all kinds of hardships and deadly foes. Braved death, indeed! The other seniors were more confused than impressed by her description, but it was clear from Don Quixote's practically twinkling eyes that she was immensely infatuated by it. I mean, you know, it reminds me of the book Sancho describes Don Quixote's face after he knows it's like being beaten up and like the sorriest thing I've had to see, and then Don Quixote takes that in stride and it's like, I will now be known as the Knight of the Sorry Face, and it's like it will be my title now. This is fantastic that you described me as such. Mo exploitable, yeah.
이쪽에서도 이번 의뢰에 대한 대략적인 내용은 전달받았습니다.
We did receive a brief of this contract.
다양한
A
해결사들이
particularly stubborn urban nightmare case, which all kinds of fixers have failed to rout despite their repeated attempts.
맞아요.
Correct.
해결사들이 올 때마다
I doubt it is customary for the head manager of an entire department to greet every no-name fixer office looking to make a name for themselves.
네.
Correct again.
더군다나
And seeing how you've gotten to the lengths to privately deliver the particular contract to our hands, this isn't a simple urban nightmare eradication, is it? I sense that your expectations of us extend beyond simply defeating it. There must be a particular task. You're expecting us to brave death, bro, given your emphasis.
이상한 기분이네요.
What an odd feeling. I wasn't going to hide it from you anyway, but it feels as though you're reading me like an open book. We stood in dumbfounded silence as Virgilia effortlessly cut through the hoops to get to the core of the contract.
맞아요.
Yes, your people were quite blunt about when you contacted us first, that there's this golden bow somewhere near our eradication target. My, I was so astonished when I picked up that call. Your people refused to answer our question. Refused to tell us what those golden bows are. Insisted that we let your people inside the zone to confirm the exact coordinates. I almost thought it was a prank call or something. I believe we also made you an offer you couldn't refuse.
장담하는데 당신들 회사에는 정보
I don't know if it's a particularly versatile agent or a very proactive intelligence department, but your company has some serious intel gathering capabilities. Kasara? I'm actually not sure how your name is pronounced. Let out a deep sigh and leaned against the wall, her shoulders slumping slightly.
그래서 토벌해야 되는 게 정확히 어떤 건데요?
So what exactly are we eradicating this time? Given that we have hopeful fixers queuing up to join the mission, what is an escaped abnormality wreaking havoc somewhere like last time? Or is it a distortion? Because if it is... I'm going to go with Sasara. Sasara wordlessly stared at Ishmael as she began to rapid fire her list of questions. Right. Forgot to explain. So abnormalities and distortions are the kind of monsters that may look similar at first glance.
차라리 그런 것이었으면 더 좋았을 뻔했을 텐데요.
If only our problem was just another monster to deal with. Something had caught my eye immediately after we arrived at this place. The missing persons flyers. I did see those. I wasn't sure if it was going to come up. There so many of them. Countless flyers in the search of a different person were taped to the pillars inside the station. Looks like people of Peak Hope are randomly going missing in no discernible age or gender patterns. Sasara, realizing that we were staring at the wall of missing person flyers, began. As you can see, the flyers are all old, faded, and tattered to the point where the papers are starting to peel off, which means that none of them have returned home safely. So we're not dealing with an entity then. It is a phenomenon. The land where the happiest smiles bloom. The amusement park of fables and legends. La Mancha Land. La Mancha Land. There we go. The first mansion. La Mancha Land. More than several dozen people have been reported missing, but the real number is likely much higher. Most of the guests who visited La Mancha Land were mysteriously materialized 2 months ago, and the back streets of Pico are still trapped within. Oh, the whole scene of La Mancha Land materialized. Oh. Yikes, They have gone missing, thou sayest. Yet, how can that be? 'Tis against the nature of amusement parks to be so full of horror, not joy.
제게 할당된 직원들만으로는 처리가 불가능했어요.
I simply did not have enough manpower under my authority to deal with this. It was designated an urban plague 3 days after its first appearance, and now it's been escalated to an urban nightmare.
하지만
Curious, if it is a mere urban nightmare, not even a star of the city, then shouldn't Peacope be able to easily handle this on its own?
그게 다른 부서에서는 그리 주목하지 않는 현상이라.
That's the thing. The other departments aren't really interested in this phenomenon, which means the martial department won't be sending their elite employees to handle this case. Why?
왜 P사에서는 그들을 투입시켜주지 않은 겐가?
They're just letting people go missing and die. It's not their problem at this point. Okay. What? Yet Wilfo! Wilfo doth Peacope not deploy their elite forces to swiftly vanquish the risk to the lives of the innocent. Don Quixote was now completely and emotionally invested in the gripping tale of tragedy that our client was sharing. Cesara seemed to be enjoying Don Quixote's excessive, almost theatrical reaction.
이 현상이 나타난 장소가
Because this phenomenon only affects the back streets.
둥지였다면
Imagine if it happened somewhere within the nest. Squadrons of elite agents from the compression department would have descended the moment it manifested. I see. The back streets, they don't care. Why would it be their problem? La Mancha Land's manifestation might be causing property damage. Yeah. Property damage to the back streets.
그쯤 하시죠, 제사라 부장.
That's enough beating around the bush, ad manager. Cesara, what more are you hiding?
당신의 직책이
It would have been a whack in the poke for someone of your status and station to requisition agents from a different department.
림버스 컴퍼니를 선택.
So explain, why did you really go through the trouble of hiring Limbus Company?
네네.
Yes, my, you really are unrelenting.
알겠어요.
Fine, I confess, the goal of our department isn't the eradication of La Mancha Land. Huh?
자, 당신들은 곧 다른 해결사들.
Now you will soon be heading into La Mancha Land with other fixers. A piece of advice, if you will. Do not let the other fixers know that you are here to find the golden bow. If they were to somehow find out that there's this mysterious artifact called the golden bow hidden somewhere within that zone, it could start attracting unwanted attention from fixers who consider it a bounty separate from the eradication reward. No need to steer the pattern. And I'm sure you are all savvy enough to know that it would be wise to keep quiet about the true objective of our department, if you know what I mean. I hear you loud and clear. Let's keep this hush-hush between Peacope and the Limbus Company. We both get what we want, and we can go our separate ways once this business is over. No fuss, no muss. Did I get that right?
정리가 깔끔하시네요.
That's a pretty good summary.
너무 얕잡아 보지 말도록. 그렇게 멍청하게 기밀을 나불거릴 자가 우리 중에
Who do you think we are? I can tell you right now that when it comes to upside, some of us might fall slightly behind.
이제 슬슬
It's about time we got to the point. Only attracting more unwanted eyes by lingering here.
그렇네요.
That's true.
라만차랜드로
Here is your
들어가
mission into
그곳을
La Mancha Land.
만들어낸
Find the thing
혹은
or
누군가를
someone that created La Mancha Land and bring it to me.
누군가?
Or someone.
무언가일 수도 있다.
The thing or someone is too insufficient as description. We do not even know if what we seek is made of organic or inorganic material.
단순히 라만차랜드를 없애는 걸로 끝나는
So,
거 아니야?
why do you need the
만든 사람이 필요한 이유는
thing
뭘까요?
person who created La Mancha Land? Shouldn't eradicating it be enough? No, they want to harness its power. You know, the city is founded on the principles of harnessing the power of nightmares for their own goals, right? Sour's eyes twinkled for a brief moment as they lingered on Sinclair.
왜 그러시나요?
Did I say something wrong?
그런 질문을 감히 할 거라는 생각조차 하지 못해서 오히려
I don't know. I suppose I was flabbergasted by your boldness to ask a daring question like to ask a question like that.
제가
Does the ring
당신들에게
even know
한
what it
가지를 왜
is?
찾아 헤매고 있냐는 질문을 하지 않았다.
Notice how I'm not asking you why you're looking for the golden barrels.
뭐 굳이
Well,
숨길 만한
it's
내용은
not like a
아니지만요.
big secret or
굳이
anything.
말씀드리자면
If you really do
그
want to
피해에
know,
대한
here
책임을
it
묻기
is.
위해서죠.
I just want whoever or whatever is behind this case to be held responsible for the damages they've caused. That's not true. That's not true.
맞는 말이지. 그런 극악무도한 짓을 저지른 자에겐
Of course, Don Quixote loves the explanation, but that's not true. Forsooth, a villain who hath committed such wicked atrocity deserveth a punishment most fitting.
그리고 겸사겸사 다른 부서들을
And as a
제출만한
little
성과를
bonus,
위해서
I get to
간만에
put some
승진하면 더
achievements under my belt to give my department a little push to rise above the others. I could use some promotion right about now, you know?
어차피 우리가 받아들이냐와는
I suppose
관계없이
it doesn't
우리
matter
승관은 이야기가 다
whether we
끝난
accept your
사람이지.
proposition or not. You must have already reached an agreement with the top brass of our company.
만약 우리가 그곳을 직접
Right, but what
없애버리는데
if,
성공한다고
after
쳐도
kicking the phenomenons out, we don't bother bringing in the bloke who made that bizarre amusement park?
그땐 어쩔 거냐?
What'll you do then? Heathcliff spoke crassly, but it was a reasonable question. After all, there was also a chance that we could fail to bring the culprit here, even if we wanted to.
당장 손에 넣을 순 없겠지만
Well, then I suppose we'll start looking into what the golden bows are, even if we won't get our hands on them immediately.
갖고 오지 않으면
So
앞으로 우리의
you'll
것을 빼앗을
start
수도
getting
있다는
in
말.
our way if we don't bring you what you want, is that it?
물론 데려온다면 굳이 그런 불확실한
It
걸 연구할
would be a
필요는 없죠.
rather unnecessary and cost ineffective research and investment, of course. But you just might force our hand if you don't do as we requested.
그리고 지금이야 라만차랜드가
Besides,
머무르고 있다 해도
while La Mancha Land is only an urban nightmare at the moment,
도시 곳곳에서
strat level is rising exponentially. This means that that more and more people in the city are beginning to catch wind of this
지금 이
case.
순간에도
Numerous
여러
fixers
해결사들이
from all over the city are gathering here at this very moment to eradicate La Mancha land to demonstrate my point.
라만차 랜드를 토벌할 사람들은 우리 말고도 많다는
So you're
건가요?
saying that we're not your only option?
돈과 명예를 원하는 자들은
Who
언제나 마르는
doesn't
법이었지.
love fame and fortune? We could always get a truckload of willing participants if we wanted to. Oh,
어쩌면 그
and maybe,
해결사들도
just maybe, some fixers
황금자지라는 곳에
among them may
관심을 가질
find
수도 있을
themselves
거예요.
becoming particularly interested in these golden bows.
단내를
I
풍겨오지
swear these precious artifacts must have a particular smile that attracts fixers like bees to honey.
다른 세력이나 해결사가
Got
눈독들이기
it.
전에
You want this mission taken care of before the phenomenon attracts too much attention.
이번에도 이야기의 핵심을
Oh,
잘
you're
파악하네요.
cutting right through the fluff again.
맞아요.
Anyway,
다행인
you
일이죠.
got that right. Isn't it so fortunate how we both seem to be under the impression that what each of us is looking for won't be of much use to the other? For now, at least.
그래서 당신들도
I
황금자지에
suppose
대해
that is why you're keeping the nature of those golden bows discreet. That is why we're keeping it on the down low about what created La Mancha land.
타다. 아는 놈이 많을수록
Agreed. And the more eyes observe an info, the less value it has. Like run-of-the-mill mass-produced podcasts.
그럼 그렇지.
Of course, it's all woke talk. I got excited for a sec thinking we were about to get some nice souvenirs.
당신들에게 거는 기대가 커요.
We have very high expectations for every single one of you.
죽음까지도
After all,
불사시는 분들이
you're all willing to die for this, aren't you? She keeps saying that. This is what every single one of our contracts has been like. Our stability and safety go out the window the moment a mission begins in earnest. We show nothing but our cold goals and objectives, not exchanging anything deeper than the shallowest transactions. I'd grown to accept this as an inevitability, but I do know that this is probably not the right way. Amidst the dull and resigned eyes of the sinners, Don Quixote's eyes alone burned with passionate fire.
제사라 부장이시여.
Thou mayst
믿어주시게.
put thy faith in us, had manager Sassara. I, Don Quixote, and my compatriots here at Limbus Company shall put an end to the terrible reign of this La Mancha land and rescue every single victim it hath claimed. And mark my words, we shall pinch this vile rascal who created La Mancha land by the collar and present them before thee. Prithee, smite them with the hammer of justice in everyone's stead. Oh, Don Quixote, she doesn't want justice. She wants to further her research.
어머나.
My, you certainly know how to inspire confidence. That's more than I could say for the vast majority of fixers I've known. I, Don Quixote, shall battle valiantly, honorably. Thus shall my name be forever etched in the halls of Pico. Don Quixote was bouncing up and down like she was prepared to stand at Sassara's beck and call. Greetings, Shadow Clone. How's it going? I am well. I am well.
그만.
Please stop.
그 짧은 시간에
This woman certainly wasted no time figuring out how to turn her into putty in her hands.
저 녀석이 너무 쉬운 거 아니냐?
It really ain't that difficult to see out the last works, to be fair.
자, 그럼 슬슬
Well then, shall we get a move on? Let us depart!
안내해 주시겠는가?
Lead the way, Lady Cesara. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Shadow.
안타깝지만 안내는 없어요.
Hopefully you'll get better soon. Oh, I'm sorry. Sadly, I can't go there with you.
여기 종이에 적힌
Please
장소를
head to the
가주시면
location
됩니다.
marked on this piece of paper.
어째서인가?
Yet, Wilfo, a junior and I lonesome shall be so dreary, no?
당연하잖아요.
Isn't it obvious if we show up at the Fixers gathering with the head manager of a whole department in tow, will attract more eyes than superstars on a red carpet?
우리랑 피사가 모종의 연결고리가 있다는
Yep,
냄새를
I'm
파악하게
sure
되겠지.
they'll sniff out our connection to Peacock at a glance. I do think you two aren't dissuading Dan Quixote. Dan Quixote doesn't. Dan Quixote would love that. Yet, how not stars of super variety a good goal to strive for?
Don Quixote.
Don Quixote, this might come as news to you, but sometimes roads can mean more than one thing at a time.
현장은 뒷골목에 있으니 통행권을 나눠드릴게요.
Here's a
당분간 피사의
Here's a
뒷골목
pass
같은
that'll
자유롭게
let you
오갈
move
수 있는
freely between the
특수
back
업무
streets and the
비자입니다.
nest of Pico. Do note that it's a work visa, however, so it won't last forever.
역시 이런 걸 나눠줄 정도면
If they can just hand out something so important this easily, I can't imagine why your department won't be able to handle it themselves. They could. Probably. Most likely. Sinclair was still quietly suspicious, but that small doubt was practically buried in the brief commotion that followed as sinews gathered in front of Cesara to receive their visa. Okay. I think this is a good point to leave off. Then, oh wait, we're in the sinews are accepted and respected by fixers and raisers the city. Oh, we'd actually get to try the Blood Fiends next time.
책임은 모두 나를 불렀나?
Probably something like
전시 준비는 완벽하답니다.
시연회의 일정이 잡혔습니까?
내 작품.
that for well, no. What we'll probably do, not today, is this for the team. We'd have 3 La Mancha Land and 3 Urine. Yeah, that won't be bad. That won't be bad at all. We'll wrap it up here. I will say, I have not put out a schedule this week. I was going to actually put one out today. The problem is I'm currently undecided on if we're going to do any more streams of, what's the game called? Fields of Mysteria. I'm trying to decide if we're going to do more streams of Fields of Mysteria or if we're going to leave it at just one stream that we checked the game out. I haven't decided yet. In about the fact that so I put out a show yesterday, clipped from that, and it got like 50 views or something. And it does make me think there's not a lot of interest in the game of Fields of Mystery, in which case we have other games to play. But because of that, I haven't put out the schedule yet. So yeah. I actually am thinking we might do faux streams this week, though. We'll see what exactly they all are. Other than tomorrow, we will be playing our collab, our every other week collab of Divinity Original Sin 2. And I think we'll have 2 more streams later in the week. I'm going to say I'm trying to raise. We're pushing for more watch hours. If we can get more watch hours, we can get nice things for the channel going forward. So nice benefits for the channel. So yeah. Anyways, I hope everyone has enjoyed today. I am very excited and a little scared of continuing this. I did not expect a carnival sort of thing. It looks like there is there. This is a surprise to me. Yeah. And also admittedly, it's very fitting for Dan's personality. It is also Rocinante and her feet there. And yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, is that a merry-go-round or something in the window? Is this like a... It almost looks like a fossil, a skeleton shadow here. Oh, I'm excited. Okay. Anyways, I hope everyone has enjoyed today. And until next time, please do try and have a blast for me. Bye.